And we're on again.
We're on. It's been too long.
It's been how long has it been? 6 weeks? 5 weeks?
I don't remember.
I don't
I
remember.
know the last
either.
one was a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah.
We had, I think, the Delmore 15 here.
I think we did. Yeah,
It was a good time.
that was good. Good times were had. Yeah, we're gonna revisit an old friend here
We
this
are.
evening.
Right.
Slight detour on the subject too.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of shenanigans we're gonna get into, but we're gonna this thing. I moved my
Chad's
chair.
on. Yeah, you can't say that I screwed with the chair or screwed with the camera because you look at the top of the picture and it's
It's
just
still the same. Well, I moved my chair when I first got here because
perfectly level.
I had to go into the Bible here, the Scotch Bible, to learn about
What did you
the
learn?
Jura. What did I learn? I learned that the island of Jura is a very small island.
Mm-hmm.
About 225 people live on the island. I also learned that Jura is a Norse word for deer, which outnumbered people on the island.
It's not a big tax base in Jura. I can't imagine.
No, probably a hell of a place to find antler sheds, though.
Yeah. Oh, probably. Yeah. Good luck fixing potholes.
All spring, I've been thinking about Scotch, been thinking about cigars, and for some reason, Jura has been at the forefront of my mind. And I don't know if it's because it was so terrible, or because it was so good, or because I don't know it at all what it tasted like.
I think we're gonna have to. I don't remember what the verdict was on it, but I know it's got the least amount out of any bottle that we've previously tried.
So that's interesting.
So we either had a really good conversation, we weren't thirsty, or it was pure gasoline.
Well, and that's I doubt it was. There's some pretty good stuff in that Scotch book about Jura, and about things they've been doing since the 60s. So I think it's probably all right. I expect it's a peaty thing like Lefroy gets right off.
Peat? You think so?
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's going to be. You did pull the bottle out. I think it was a little brighter colored then.
Smoky notes and a sweet sherry cask finish.
So it shouldn't be at all then.
So it might be a blend.
Anyways, anything to get the taste of smoke out of your mouth too. This is getting out of hand.
It's funny because we're gonna have a cigar this evening, and it's what I picked out here was this Dominion Black Lotus, and I think that's probably gonna be the least smoky thing I inhale this week.
Is that a new one? That sounds familiar. Maybe we were gonna have that at one point.
I think we were gonna have this one at one point in time. Here, have a look. We were gonna have this at one point in time, but I don't know if we didn't commit to it or we changed our mind last minute or whatever, but
I think we ended up with that between this or the King. This has no
band.
No band.
Just the ugly government band.
Just the ugly government band.
Makes you wonder why they would put a band on it at all then.
I got quite the looks over dinner here tonight.
Oh, did you really?
When I told people I was coming to smoke a cigar, and my 6-year-old daughter just kind of like looked at me confused.
Why would you want to do that?
Have you not been outside?
Yeah. Well, Chad even commented on my last video. He's like, I don't even know if you're going to need the cigars tonight, but yeah, no joke. I think this might be the least smoke that I inhale today. Yeah, you're wedged in there. You gotta like squeeze it up like a popsicle or Mr. Freezy.
I don't even know what I'm trying to get it out.
Oh, you're trying to get the wrapper out with the band.
Well, did you just have a band?
The Trudeau band. Yeah, it's wedged up in the cellophane. I just left it there.
Oh,
military green.
We gotta fill that bottle with even the shitty ones, I guess. Whatever.
This one. This bottle.
What's in that one?
That's the one with the cork busted off on.
Oh, okay.
Way over there. But you remember the other day I texted you and I said, what are your thoughts on an infinity bottle?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if the folks at home have ever heard of an infinity bottle, but basically if you get down to, yay much in the bottom of a 2.6 or something like that, you would just pour it in and just make a custom blend of your own kind of, I guess, a tour of Scotland, I guess, and just make your own blend, and it never kind of runs out, and you always kind of have a unique blend as you go, right?
Interesting.
So the other day I was out wandering through the bushes, as one does, and found a really cool bottle. It's like an octagonal bottle. It holds about, I think about 800 centiliters. Would they be centiliters?
Centiliters?
I think that's what
I'm
it
not
is, right?
familiar with. I'm not. I brushed up on
Just-
my centiliter measurements.
Just over a
my
2.6
visuals.
anyways, right? Looks like it holds just over a 2.6, and it has a real. It doesn't come with a lid. It has a really strange threaded. So I was like, I wonder, and I looked at the bottom and I thought, does that say Imperial Farms, or what is it? Because it's really like tough, like it's not stamped very cleanly. So then on the sides, on each of the octagonal sides, it's got this horse and wagon and like an old hay barn, and then a traditional Dutch barn embossed into the glass. And I thought, oh yeah, like this is right uptown. This is right uptown. So then the search is on for a lid that fits this thing, right?
Oh, okay.
So the only thing I've been able to find that actually fits the threads of this is a Costco or Kirkland Signature salt and pepper shaker, the lid, right? So
Interesting.
next time I go buy salt and pepper from Costco, you buy one that's got the grinder on it, and then the spare that it comes with has
Oh, okay.
a lid. So I'm going to take the lid, and that can be the infinity bottle. But so under the microscope, I turn this thing over, and it's not Imperial Farms. It's Lamplight Farms. So then I start Googling, what is Lamplight Farms? And there's actually a big glass bottle from an oil lamp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's like very like heavily decorated. I don't know what year it's from, but
There was quite a bit of graphics on that stuff
back in the day, yeah.
I found a few in the bush, and I thought, like, what a. Well, you had found this one as well, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, this one, and it's not even that pretty, but it's prettier than some of the bottles you get now, right?
it's-
So
Well, most of these scotches are just in a bottle, right? I mean, very few are.
yeah, it's mostly the case that's the artwork,
Right.
right? So
And before it was the actual glasses. Is very artistic itself.
yeah,
So-
that's right.
Well, I'm was a bit relieved that it's it was lamp oil. I thought it might have been some drunk pissed in a bottle.
Some truck driver pissed in a bottle. Yeah,
Here we're gonna create
Yeah.
this custom blend of 90-year-old piss.
trucker piss. Yeah, yeah. Well, no, actually, I found it out. So it was a cabin is going to go out of my in-laws' place. So we were out there the other night, jacking this cabin up on and getting a gooseneck trailer underneath there, and it was by far the sketchiest thing I've ever done with jackalls, the big farm jacks,
Oh yeah.
bottle jacks, 6x6, 3x12, 2x6, 4x4, you name it. Like there's no nothing's consistent, right? We're just trying to get it up and up and up and up until we can get this thing like literally 40 inches off the ground, and it's just sitting there, right? 40,000 pounds or whatever this whole cabin weighs, just teetering on these blocks. Finally get it on and under the trailer, and as we're slowly letting it down, actually it started to skid across, and the jack that I was operating got away on me, and it started going like this.
Oh
And I was
yeah.
like chariots of fire, like I'm the fuck out of there, right? But anyway, so then we had to get Aaron's truck on and hook onto the skids and literally just drag it back straight onto the trailer and throw an orange triangle on the back and
Call her good, eh?
Haul her-
She's
haul
a
her-
farm load now.
haul her out to Rio Grande. So yeah, that was quite the adventure. But anyway, so yeah, this bottle was out in the bushes over there, right? So but yeah, it's all sterilized and it's good to go now. But I just have to acquire a good lid for
Find
it.
a
So,
lid.
yeah. I was looking at maybe like baby food, no. Barbecue sauce, no. Seafood sauce, no. Gatorade, no. Nothing like
It's
that.
got to be Kirkland
Yeah,
salt.
and then even like the Epicure, the wife's got tons of these Epicure things, and they're just a tiny bit too big. But
Huh.
salt and pepper, that's the answer right there. So
That's very interesting.
yeah,
Threads in themselves are a nightmare.
yeah.
They're made two the same.
No, God forbid, right?
Right.
So yeah, got a few folks on here. Chad's on, Damon's on, Justin's on, Kristen's on.
I think Damon's farming.
Justin wants to know if this live is on Starlink tonight. It is actually on Starlink tonight.
Is it?
It is.
You
Yeah.
got a bridge over here?
Well, I got the same because I bought one of those, what do you call that? Ethernet adapter. So I'm just using my regular Wi-Fi mesh system across the whole yard. But it is Starlink.
Interesting.
So yeah. Yeah. So what are you picking up there for hints? White dog shit?
I was gonna say this is closer to the glove box of the old tandem. But there's
So
it's a bit sweet.
we lost. Yeah, the bands are gone, but this is a Dominion Black Lotus. So I forget the guy's name that owns Dominion Cigars, but it's actually a fairly new company, right? I think they're founded in 2014. Dominion, however, is a very popular brand in Canada. If you go to any tobacconist, apparently you're going to find.
I think that's what the Kingpin cigar was.
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yep. So you're going to find this brand of cigar. So this is what would this be? 6x50. So that'd be a Toro, not a Robusto, because I think the Robusto was 5x52. But it is supposed to be medium to full bodied. It's kind of a big veiny bastard too. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to draw, but anyways, medium to full bodied for a sophisticated palate is what the internet tells me. I don't know if that's us. I don't know if we have a sophisticated palate, but we've
hammered through it
after this week, breathing all that shit. I think we've probably developed a pretty sophisticated palate.
I've seen a guy on Facebook. He had a pretty funny meme there that they've changed the air quality scale. Now they go in Export A.
Export A greens.
Export
yeah.
A green today.
Yeah, the Green Death. Yeah. My old tool push used to smoke the Green Death all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And every once in a while, when a guy ran out of smokes, you'd try and steal one of his, and you'd literally turn green. Yeah, it was quite the deal. But
I noticed a cigarette stand there the other day, and I thought, that it is no fun anymore.
Having
it
a
used
smoke.
to be super colorful. There's red.
Oh, it's probably just a wall of beige now.
It's just like grayish off.
Yeah.
Awful and it was no fun. I could see it. Being colorful is more fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, yeah, you can really taste the rainbow.
Thank you, Justin Trudeau, for that.
Thanks for that. Well, I think that predated him, didn't it?
Just blame everybody.
Yeah,
Obama. Obama.
Thanks, Obama. Yeah, thanks for healthcare and uncolorful cigarettes. I'm excited next month because we're going to Europe. So we're going to go to Amsterdam, and then we're going to go to England and revisit some of the old haunts there. But I'm interested to know what the market is for this. Is it colorful, or is it just because I would imagine in Amsterdam, it's just it's like Vegas of Europe, right?
Oh, I bet you it's full on.
There's just got to be just all kinds of things, right? If they can just smoke weed on the street, I can't imagine why they can't have good cigars. But they might be like European cigars, like those long, skinny ones that I don't know.
Well,
I would imagine. I know if you go to London, you're going to find like regular full-size cigars, right? The skinny ones aren't very popular there. I shouldn't say that. The Lonsdale and the Lancero, they are quite popular there. They're more like a 43 ring gauge, 6-inch by 43 ring gauge, but you can still get quite a few big ones. So.
One thing I really noticed with having a humidor and in my very limited cigar experience in life is they're oily.
They are oily.
If somebody else at a wedding or whatever hands you cigars, it's this dry piece of shit.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna have any amount of cigars in your portfolio, you would be foolish certainly up here in Canada with our extremes in humidities to not have a humidor.
And that's a strange thing. So it would be 4 days ago, I came up here and I was a little bit like, when you really think of it, suddenly you get a palpitation because you're like, shit, I haven't checked the hygrometer in like a week. And I'm probably going to have tanked the humidity in this and potentially have ruined out of $6,000 worth of cigars, right? But I came out, and despite it being 15% relative humidity is what it was for the last week outside. And this thing was just trucking along at 68%.
Well, that's amazing.
So that's the importance of having a good sealed humidor as well, right? Not just any old wooden box
or shit. What does happen?
Yeah,
some piece of shit with a Bovatec pack in it and just call it good. Some old Pelican case.
Bovatec, what's that? I think.
What do you call it? Bovita.
Bovita, yeah, Bovatec. That sounds like some shit you give your cows for mastitis or something. Anyways, we probably shouldn't. I think we agreed, right? We're not going to light these until we have a taste of the whiskey because that skews everything.
I think it does, but I mean, it's going to skew the flavor of the cigar too. So, what's your recommendation on cutting this punch?
Well, it's got a fairly flat top, so I think you could probably go with a punch. Even a V cut. We don't have a V cutter,
No.
but you could probably go with a V
I
cut.
was looking. They say if you don't have one, you can cut around that ring. And the ring is
Yeah,
quite
even
defined
just
here,
a-
but
even-
that's like over a
Like
quarter of an
it's-
inch into the cigar.
Well, I mean, this one, you got the first cap right there, about 4 millimeters in, like just the tip.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think if you went all the way to the bottom, you would have some wrapper roll there that wouldn't be that pleasant.
No.
But I'm gonna try for the The punch cut.
Apparently.
what's that? Guess somebody want to pick up grain right now?
Tomorrow.
I'll just say like tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Did that work?
That is just perfect. Look at that.
Did you pioneer this bullet yourself, or did you was that a Pinterest thing, an Etsy thing? Because it's a top shelf idea and it does a really good job.
You know, I don't think that I borrowed the idea from anybody, but I don't think that idea was necessarily a original thought, right? Like I'm sure I've seen it somewhere, but
Well, it was a very good idea.
not somewhere enough that I can give that credit, right?
Interesting.
Oh yeah, that's got really good draw too. I think we're really gonna like this one. That's gonna be.
It's got a mouthful of.
Yeah, I just got some pubic hair and mouth shit. All right, I'm gonna leave that one there. We
But
better
it is
crack,
good. It is going to be
better
good.
crack this
So you're
open.
not gonna spark it up first.
I'm not gonna spark it up first because I really think
I
that
better do
could.
that too because I was very curious as to know what's going on in this Jura.
I really want to know why we only got a third of the way into that bottle because that's.
And do you remember at the tasting, was there a table of Jura? I
I'm
thought
sure there
Jura
was.
whiskeys there.
There was, yeah, in the
That's
corner.
It just, yeah, I don't know, it sticks out. So there's only one distillery on the island as well,
Hence why it's Jura and it's
So-
not anything else.
which is pretty
No
cool.
competition.
It's,
May I?
yeah, absolutely, please.
There you go.
Oh, that smells good.
Was this the one that tasted like apple crisp?
It smells like apples.
No, I got the whiff of it there. I was like, oh boy.
Did you watch that guy on TikTok with put some in his cup and he just fired it?
Oh,
And then
this guy I work with is like, you got to do this on Smoking Oak. You put a shot in, you swirl it around, you're like, fired across the room. Don't want any fucking contamination. And then he's just
he
like-
put about this much in there too.
He's like, hello, how you doing? Yeah, he had a half a glass in there.
Right, $20 worth of scotch, just
Yeah.
fired it.
That is very, very appley though.
It is. You would wonder why, like
Yeah, there's no way there's been any apples come anywhere
there's no
near
apple
this.
cider cask or anything, and yeah,
There's
it's
no
just
apple wood. Oh. Yeah, does that ever taste good? We're here's to the end of lambing season and the end of seeding.
Absolutely.
Done.
Gardens are in.
Gardens are
Lambs
in.
are born. Crops are in. Now the smoke can settle in and do its damage. So people were telling me actually they were cattle are getting pneumonia now from they call it dust pneumonia.
From the smoke.
From the smoke from the dust.
From
like
the
when they're riling up
particulate matter.
But even when they're when they're thrashing about in their pens or whatever, if it's too dry and
Sure.
they're kicking up all that dust and the little ones are breathing it in.
Oh, yeah, that's
Brutal. Like you just can't catch a break.
It's believable. Well, there's a whole PM 2.5 scale is what they call it. It's how much how much particulate matter is under 2.5 microns, and that's the stuff that really gives you trouble, right?
Okay.
And yesterday, Grand Prairie, so I guess the unhealthy range is like anything over 176. Grand Prairie was at 674, right? Like you could literally breathe with a knife and a fork. Like,
Unreal.
just terrible, just absolutely terrible, right?
Well, it's a good thing we're accustomed to it with all our oil wells and flares and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like living in Mordor.
Just give her the banner flat out. Good.
Yeah. Oh well, we should light these up and
Absolutely.
do our part, freshen the air up in here a little bit.
Crack a window and let some of the smoke out.
Oh, that might be time to refill this one.
While you're playing out. I always get like
I'm gonna
real
wait.
over into it when I'm toasting it, like it's on fire.
Yeah, you don't hold back, eh?
No.
I'm more like
Well, that smells good.
treat the end of it like a marshmallow. I want it golden brown. Like I can go probably 6 inches away.
I get right up, right close and personal with it.
Well, right away.
So made right in Canada, eh?
Well, no, they're not made in Canada.
They're not?
They're just very.
They're Canadian.
They're very popular in Canada. They're made in Honduras.
I thought they were a Canadian company.
Well, it might be a Canadian company, but
When I did that looking on the Kingpin, I thought they were actually one of the only Canadian brands.
well, here, let's just have a look real quick because I just looked it up here.
But yeah, you're right. It's probably not manufactured. But
Steve Ricker is the guy that owns the company, and it's produced at the Tabacos de Orient in Honduras, and has become very popular with Canadian cigar enthusiasts and tobacconists alike across Canada.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't really say whether or not it's a Canadian brand or not. So could be.
Well, it's a mighty fine cigar.
Yeah.
So far. Smells good, right? That's what
Well, at least you know a guy's not going to get stuffed up from this thing, though.
Well,
You shouldn't.
Thinking about that tri-wrapped one, the Filthy Hooligan one, you said like a mouthful of sour cream.
With sour cream.
And I can, every time I smoke a cigar, I can almost like exactly relive that. Yeah, that smoke was very thick.
It was.
And
It was like thick, like an oil change.
I wonder how they do that. Like this is very.
It's got to be the oil content of the leaves, right? And how they ferment the leaves, as opposed to just dry aging it, right?
I suppose.
Because they basically, when they got the tobacco barns and they pack it all, they're not. They're almost like making silage, right? That's how they ferment it, right? It's just the nitrogen and the carbon in the tobacco leaf just causes it to ferment, right?
But it didn't. I guess we didn't have it for very long. We smoked it right away.
Yeah, it didn't age at all.
No.
Didn't even really have time to acclimate in the humidor. I think it was like that day, wasn't it? Or just then a couple of days?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because we had it with that, was it the Island Park one? That everyone said was so terrible.
Yeah,
the one individual.
Yeah, we had the one night where it was like, a questionable cigar and a questionable whiskey.
And I still think that was a good cigar.
Yeah, I think it was a good whiskey, but I don't know. We're gonna have to agree. Everybody has their own taste, right? So we can agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, absolutely. But so far, this is a very fine cigar.
Yeah. What'd you plant in your garden this year?
I actually I rotivated it and then I had to go make bags. But we're gonna have
Oh, you haven't got that far yet.
No, the Corey planted it, but it's got she planted 3,000 carrots because she kept 3 packs of 1,000 seeds. She bought these like coated seeds, so it's like a super huge seed.
Yeah.
So it's easy to plant, so you don't have to. Hopefully, you don't have to thin them out so much.
There's a lady.
Amazing.
There's a lady called what's her name? Oh, man, she's on Quebec Homestead on YouTube.
Okay.
also on TikTok. It's not Melanie, not Melody. It escapes me. Anyways, what she does is she puts them in cornstarch and water, makes like almost like a carrot seed gravy.
Okay.
Of course, it's not hot, right? It's
Yeah,
cold.
yeah.
And then just puts it in a Ziploc bag, and then you just squirt it down your row, and it just evenly distributes it. And then you don't have to thin your carrots, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, it works. So then you're not overseeding them. There's no competition in there.
Because did you ever try one of
Mallory? That's her
those- Mallory?
name. Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
The walk behind piece of shit seeder with the little disc in it, and fill the little, and you push it down the row.
We have one, an Earthway Precision Seeder.
Well, I don't think ours is called that. It's probably a knockoff piece of shit version.
Oh,
of that.
okay.
It doesn't work.
Oh, really?
What a hunk
No?
of shit. Has like 4 or 5 different discs for.
Yeah, we got like a
Size.
6-pack or whatever, and you just click the one for the seed
Oh, what a
size you
piece of
want.
Shit. What a.
It's got a little V belt on it at the front.
I'm not a fan.
Hmm.
Total piece. I think ours called the Chapman.
The Chapman
PV March.
Chapman 100. Yeah.
Piece of shit, Chapman.
Oh wow!
No
I know. Last year I put the bean disc in there, right, for the big old broad beans, and I filled that hopper full of pumpkin seeds. In my back. We had a pumpkin plant every 6 inches, and the wife was just like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" The whole yard was vines, right? But wasn't a good year for pumpkins, anyways. So
I don't know if it's going to be a good year for anything. Smoky. Who's all on? Anybody on? Leave us a comment if you're new.
yeah, 7 folks on, so lots
If
of
you,
folks there.
if you drop a comment if you're new, you get your name entered in for a cup.
Yeah,
Got a couple
Your
options.
coffee cup or
We got
whiskey
you can
glass.
see these already. Yeah, there's a whiskey glass. There's coffee cup. Pretty cool. Logoed up.
yeah.
Got, Brendan's thrown in the mail there the other day. Corey dropped it off. So
Brendan.
Brendan Pana, BCP.
Oh yeah.
So it's finally got shipped off. I think.
Oh, he did join us last time. Yeah.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was good.
And then, there's a couple of people that didn't get it. And Mark Mortensen, he still never sent any information. So
Well, that's too bad.
some people are like that, though. They keep to themselves. That's fair enough. But if you're,
I can't imagine just sitting at home and somebody said we're going to give you free stuff and be like, I got my own stuff.
well, especially like either one of those is pretty sweet. I can't believe how the sublimation works on glass. Just throwing it in the oven. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't. The science behind that is.
Remarkable, hey?
It confuses the brain quite
Yeah.
a bit. How you could just take even that hydro dipping, right? When they're doing those hard hats and shit. Like, who would ever thought you just spray paint water and then lift your hat up
Yeah.
through it, and it's just the most incredible piece
The
of art
most
you've ever
incredible
seen.
artwork, yeah. Hey, there's Mark right there.
Oh, there's Mark. Mark, we still got
Speak of the devil.
your cups, my friend.
We were literally just saying,
So
hey, we want to give you free stuff. So send us your address. Send it to, what's the address? smokeandoakproductions@gmail.com.
yeah,
Send your address and we'll mail you your choice, whiskey glass, coffee cup.
so absolutely.
Yeah, perfect. Speaking of funny ways the brain works, how was your week on the internet this week?
So the week was not too bad.
I guess it predated the week.
It did. It was. This was prior to seeding, and I messaged Stan right away. I sent him. I think I sent him a screenshot of what had happened, and this has been bothering
Just
me.
emotional damage.
It was. It really pissed me off because generally when I get treading on the internet, I tread very lightly. I mean, I've gone down the road several times where I've seen a title, I've seen a comment, I've seen whatever, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna fucking show this guy. And I type a bunch of stuff and I look at it and I read it over and I think, you know what, whatever. I delete it and I go on living my life.
Yeah.
So this one situation was on a chicken website, chicken Facebook page or something. I think Alberta Chicken Feed or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And an individual
Oh,
raised.
this is the canola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's. What were you getting at?
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
But
okay. Well, anyways, we'll start here.
I do
So,
remember you got heartburn over the canola thing.
because this pissed me off because I just thought this was a shitty way of them handling it. They asked a question along the lines I don't exactly remember. Does anybody know about canola seed in their chicken feed? We get our canola seed from whoever, and we get our chicken feed from the place. They put canola in it. We don't use canola at all in our food. So we've heard the eggs can taste fishy. Does anybody have any ideas on this?
Sure.
And I actually thought, I was like, you know what? I've been making feed for like 9 or 10 years now. We've made probably hundreds of tons
I mean, you're as close to a subject matter expert as there is.
of chicken feed based on customer recommendations. We've never got a nutritionist involved.
Yeah,
We've never
sure.
got a vet involved. We have sent our feed out to be tested. So we know the protein, we know various things about it.
Yeah.
But the chicken mix that we make, 40% wheat, 40% peas, 10% canola, 5% oats, 5% barley, is arguably one of the most popular blends of feed that we sell.
It's hardly the Colonel's secret recipe.
It's true. It's truly amazing. People feed it to everything. They feed it
Yeah.
to their sheep. They feed it to their rabbits. They feed it to everything, right up to their cattle if they want.
And we feed that same thing right here.
So
Horses, donkeys, pigs, sheep, cows, everything. Everything gets it.
So Stan and I, we both believe that if you're going to answer a question, you should answer a question properly. Answer it with some information, not just no.
Yeah.
It doesn't make the eggs
never-
taste bad.
Yeah.
That's not enough information, right?
Correct.
Because
Give
maybe-
it some context.
give it a little bit more. Try a little bit. If you're gonna get involved at all, try a little bit. So I thought I handled this as good as you could. I put, well, we've made a lot of feed. We have a lot of customers that buy our feed. This is the mix: 10% canola. We do grind the canola or crush it, so the seeds are busted up mostly, and the oil comes out. We have never had a problem with people saying the eggs taste bad.
Yeah, never.
They taste fishy. No one has ever said that. And you know, it was about a paragraph, or not a paragraph. So it was a good chunk of a comment section on the Facebook page. And then I left it at that. And then I get a ding like an hour later, and the response was, "We're not interested in canola at all." And I thought, you bitch.
Like, why'd you even ask?
Right?
Why'd you fucking
You
ask?
weren't asking a question. You were trying for some therapeutic moralism so you could come at the rest of us from this fucking elevated pedestal that you're living on and basically indirectly say, I'm such a good person and such a healthy person that I don't use canola products in a fucked up roundabout way of saying that.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Like, that was not the appropriate response to somebody asking your question, which was, has anybody experienced eggs tasting fishy with canola?
It's like asking a question with the intent to try and come back and educate people on their evil doings.
Well, you know, exactly. And I was almost going to type back, like, go fuck yourself. But then I just, I left it and I thought, like, what a weird person. Like, who the fuck?
Just fuck right off, and I'll stay here quite happily with my fishy eggs.
Right? I should have, I was kicking myself too. Like, you should have never answered the question, you stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, you never get involved. You just read the comments, you learn a little bit, and you go on living your life.
Yeah,
Why did you want to answer this question for this person?
just walked right into it?
Oh, just the biggest fist in the mouth you ever imagined. I thought, okay, well, I wasn't trying to sell you on anything, lady. You lived fucking 9 hours from me. I was just answering your question.
Not gonna hot shot a bag of
I
canola.
don't really give a shit what you do.
You know, the internet's a pretty open place, though. Wouldn't it be interesting to just, because it wouldn't take you too many steps to just find out where that person lives.
Well, instantly starts running through your mind what type of person this is.
The type of person that deserves a bag of canola in the mail. Like a glitter bomb, right?
Just carry
You need
on.
like an envelope full of
Right.
canola. When they open it up, there's just canola all over their kitchen.
They're out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
So they've obviously done some, and I use quotation marks. They've done some research, right? So it's not fish. It's not fish, right? If it was just a fishy taste, people wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'm dead against canola." There's something else in there. What's the science behind it?
well, that's it. Well, of course, a lot of people, and we see this. Anytime you're involved in feed at all, you're going to see this across the board, right? GMO is a trigger word. Roundup is a trigger word. Canola itself is a trigger word.
Sure.
Because people that don't understand really anything understand just enough that these words pack a tremendous amount of weight. And being on either side of the fence is, well, I should say being on one side of the fence seems to put you in a group of elevated fucking people who just feel that the rest of us
Sure.
are really living life the wrong way.
Yeah, the borderline vegan,
We're
right?
just not.
They're
we're just not
holier
doing
than
things
thou.
right. We're,
Yeah.
we're unhealthy. We're hurting our children. We're fucking up the environment. We're doing all of these things, and I don't even understand that. I tell a lot of people too. I say I don't like Monsanto either, but not
Yeah.
for the reasons that you do.
No, I mean, if I wanted to have unhealthy, uncared for, I could do that before breakfast without even having to feed them, right? Like, there's a lot bigger problems in the world than just what's coming in your cereal crops.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that something?
So that was like, and because I experienced so little drama on the internet, that really got me. Like that really, really irritated me that people are like that.
Just like the knife went all the way in. Hey?
Well, it's just like you watch some of these clips and they're like, oh, restore your faith in sportsmanship, and it's like, oh, the goalie falls down with a groin injury, so the guy doesn't kick the ball in the net. Or, you're like, oh, restore your faith in humanity.
Feel
right?
good story.
Fucking
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then you got a shitbag like this on the other hand, and you're like, fuck, man, the world sucks. Like there's people walking around pushing grocery carts, waiting for you to fucking put fucking salted butter in your cart just so they can fucking attack you about salt.
I feel like you really softened up since the whole emergency alert TikTok that you made there that time.
Oh fuck.
That one cut you to the core, and now you're just...
that was offside for a different reason. I could even see the fault.
Well, that was just sure you just didn't know, but I don't know. I still like just pitching one across the fence to see what the world has to say about it. Like,
well, no, I get you. And I don't mind being a little bit.
I got told a good waiter makes twice as much money as me today, and I was like, better be a really good fucking waiter.
Yeah, no, that was pretty fun. My emergency alert one. Well, like my heart was in the right place due to the lack of information that I had when I made it. It seemed like it wasn't in the right place, and even I could see that. So I eliminated that from the internet before anybody could screenshot or record it because I don't want to. I don't want to be known. Because that was gaining traction. You're going to be the
next Piers Morgan.
That was gaining traction. Wow, fuck not Piers Morgan. What's that other fucking lunatic that the Sandy Hook guy? Fuck.
Sandy Hook. Fuck, that's extreme.
Yeah, who's that guy though? The fucking the news guy that got sued over that.
Tucker Carlson or something like that.
Maybe one of these guys know. Jones. Fucking.
Man, I don't watch enough news to know.
What's his name? Alan Jones? Oh yeah, he got sued like big time from running his mouth about that. Oh yeah, and
talking about gun control or something.
Yeah, well, how it was a hoax and blah blah blah. It's carried right on. I think it's Alan Jones, Alec Jones. I don't know, maybe something like that. Maybe one of these guys know. Yeah, and you don't. I mean, there's certain topics that aren't. They're off limits for gaining traction on. You don't gain likes and subscribers and
no, you shouldn't use it as a springboard.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Alec Jones, I'm pretty sure.
Alex
Jones, I'm pretty sure.
That sounds familiar. Yeah, he even sounds like a douchebag. Chad says people are getting really fanatical about GMO, grain-fed, Roundup, etc. Some YouTube channels really cater to them as well as fires them people up with no evidence. It's crazy. Yeah, it is true. I mean, there's a lot of weight thrown behind anecdotal evidence, and I mean, for all we know, they could just be literally dumping Miracle-Gro and Roundup all over their garden, and throwing a YouTube video up and saying, "Oh, look, this is all natural, no chemicals here, nothing to see," right? Yeah. Meanwhile, it's just like a fucking toxic wasteland.
Well, I mean, you see that, right? When
mutant tomatoes.
The fucking president of Mad Canada gets fucking impaired, right? I mean, you like.
Oh, the irony! Hey?
All of these things, and you're just like, oh, okay, well, that's one thing. Another thing, I guess, that how much people are going to take these little snippets and these little headlines. Like anybody, I mean, we're proving it right now. Anybody can grab a platform and start saying shit. it's what amazes me is the mass amount of people that get behind them fully, without even knowing who they are, what they're about, where they got their information from. But they're just like
they'll base their entire being off of a 30-second video clip.
Right? These life coaches are doing it, or these
Yeah, that's right? Actually really, really scary, right?
It's terrifying how moldable the mind is. Even in see people in their 40s and their 50s, and they're just flocking to these. And Andrew Tate was a big one. The guy was the most Googled man on the planet.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm thinking,
come out of nowhere.
Here's the insanity of it. I mean, you listen to you watch some of his talk shows and his interviews with news anchors and stuff, and seemed like some of the stuff fairly legit, fairly level-headed.
Well, that's the thing. Like if you can base 25% of your dialogue in something that's fairly standardized and based and logical, and the rest of it is the most fucked up shit, you're bound to have some people that will fight to the death to defend you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely. It boggles my mind.
It's always that, like, there's that theory, like, you could be a hero. You could save burning babies, out of a 3rd-story window, but you suck one dick, you're a cocksucker for life, right? But now the theory is kind of reversed, right? Never mind all the bad shit that person's done. What about that one time they did something that was, really saintly and upright? And
it's crazy. It's
gone. Like the tables have turned, right? It seems.
Well, I've seen some of these, some of these, what do they call them? Political content creators or whatever, that they they'll highlight a comment or something that someone said, and the one video that I had seen was this person actually left a comment that said, "Yeah, they lied. Yeah, it was bad. Blah blah blah. But I'll still vote for them." And I thought, like, what an insane way to be. And I mean, I don't really give a shit.
No,
but I just like, what a weird, like, you're admitting that this person is not trustworthy.
Yeah.
You see it with your own eyes.
That's right.
But nothing's going to sway you.
But you're not going to change your mind.
Right? And of course, I mean, when you look specifically at the political platform, fucking nationwide, municipally, provincially, fucking doesn't matter. They're all fucking slime.
It's very relevant right now because we just went through a municipal election in Beaver Lodge because people quit, right? But then of course there's what do you call that? Provincial election coming up right away, and that's very polarizing. And I seen some stuff today, and I just shook my head about it because of course half the fucking province, especially our half, is on fire. Has to be on fire, of course. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
But okay, well, Rachel Notley, and love her, hate her, not going to get into it. But Rachel Notley cut all this funding for the wildfires in, I think it was 2016 or 2017. 2016, I think it was. And so then we're not going to vote for her again. Well, here we are, conservative government, never had more wildfires in the history of our fucking province. And for the folks that don't know this at home, never been as under-resourced, understaffed, never had so many hours in the field, literally have farmers out there with tractors and discs and water tanks and sprayers fighting the fires by themselves. And I got to think, okay, well, that 2016 was what, 7 years ago? Surely there was an opportunity for somebody in an opposition government to put some funding back into that, but we just remember that one dick that got sucked.
I was just going to say that seems to be the way it is. Like, I had said when they got elected the first time, and I mean, I'm not going to get into it, and I don't really care. But how just arrogant is it to instantly say that it's their fault? Like, I mean, they don't even know where their office is in the legislature yet.
Well, no,
they were that new.
They were that new, yeah.
Oh, it's their fault. I mean, like, it might be if you give them some time.
Yeah, sure. If they literally didn't prepare for it and they didn't do anything about it, once it occurred, right? But I just think it's really, really difficult 7 years on to play that card. It's like, well, what did you do to make it better? But this political polarization of everything is now left the political arena, and it's now in the societal or the public arena, right? Where the party politics is I'm always going to vote blue, or I'm always going to vote red, or I'm always going to vote orange or green, or whatever color you have to be.
Yeah.
Regardless of the decisions, regardless of the past history, the mistakes, whatever. Nobody wants to switch sandboxes that they're playing in. And then now it's in public. Well, if you like guns, well, you must be a racist transphobe. And if you don't like guns, well, you must be a liberal sissy boy. And, it's just like, can you have a diverse group of beliefs as an individual? Can you have thoughts on gun control, thoughts on education, thoughts on abortion, thoughts on LGBTQ? I can't even say the acronym. How many different communities are a part of that? LGBTQS plus Two-Spirit, AI, right? Because it's going to be the robots here next, right? Robot, because fucking ChatGPT's coming, and they're going to have.
That is pretty funny though.
Yeah, right. So where's that going to end? But that's maybe a conversation for another day. But yeah, I don't.
Well, it all runs in. Like we kind of had a vague topic tonight about basically etiquette on the internet, using the internet for your own. I had a guy get feed for me. He was a preacher, not of a well-known religion or whatever, but one of these offshoot.
They call it a cult.
Evangelicals. Lots of people call it a cult. He told me that because I was asking him, and I said, like, there was somebody here, and I forget exactly what the conversation was about. And I said, like, I had no way around them. Like, they just kept talking, and he said, like, what they're doing and what these people are doing, especially when they jump to the defense of minority situations. Not that there's not a relevant situation there, but when a lot of people jump on these bandwagons, they're looking for therapeutic moralism. They're feeling better about saying something.
Yeah.
Everybody who changed their fucking thing to a Ukrainian flag was doing that. They were feeling better about doing nothing.
Yeah.
Doing nothing.
Yeah. Didn't matter.
Having support for them or not is totally irrelevant. But doing this in your face is for one purpose. It's for your own feel good. Didn't
matter that it was the third most corrupt nation in the world. Didn't matter that there was literal genocide happening in that country. All that mattered is, they were the underdog in the story. And if I put this fucking blue and yellow flag up on my profile picture on Facebook, I'm Ralphie Wiggum. I'm helping.
Well, and that's exactly it. And you see this, you see it all the time now when people flock to, when they flock to these life coaches, when they flock to whatever it may be. It's such a small part of them, but yet they make it such a big part of their online presence.
I don't think you need I don't think you need a life coach. I think you probably need a session like this, three people, somebody that's genuine enough to look you in the eye and say you're a fuck up, and not in a malicious way, to just be for your own good, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody just have the courage to tell you, I think what you're doing is fucked up, or otherwise, or encourage you where you need to be encouraged, but not to enable people, right? There's so much of that. Well, you do you, right? And then before you know it, like, you're just completely off the rails.
Yeah, that's really, it's not helpful to coach people into their own self-destruction.
Basically, right? You're just like, it's like you're sitting.
You're soaking up $50 a month in membership fees.
Yeah, you're sitting in a boat with a bucket, but you're putting the water in instead of out, right? And it's a hell of a thing to watch, but it's an act of cruelty in my mind.
Well, you would have seen these two guys battling it out on TikTok there a month ago or whatever, because I messaged you about it, because some of this shit is pretty funny. Like, and if you don't really have a lot going on online and a lot of drama going on, like, I will admit my life is very boring. It's just like, get up, make bags, go seeding. That's it. I don't hardly go anywhere. I don't have time for anything.
Every once in a while, you'll throw a bearing and.
Even that I
go on a parts run.
Well, I mellowed out so much that, like, the last several, expensive, even seeding, it's probably $7,000 worth of parts in a few different days. I lost half a day of seeding there, and it just kind of mellowed out a bit.
I haven't seen you chuck a wrench in YouTube.
So I get some of my kicks off some of these TikToks. Of course, that's the way the algorithm works. If you pause on one and watch 30 seconds of it, you're going to see more of it. So
Yeah.
And then my thing too, even with news articles, I don't actually really like to read the news article. I find it boring as shit, dry as shit, no matter who wrote them. What I do like to read is the comment section of those who did read them.
To see the narrative, right?
Right. That's what I like
dialogue.
to see. So even on these TikTok videos, lots of times I won't even watch the video. I'll let it play while I scroll the comments. And these like really macho, like these, like Andrew Tate was one.
The savagery there.
They're just, but their lineup of people that are following them, with their nose so far up this leader's ass, leaving comments and fighting with other people in the comments, calling them all sorts of things, and they say, you're a liberal pussy, and you're this and you're that, and you're a sheep, and you're on and on. All the while, I'm thinking like, you don't know this fucking guy yet. You've dropped everything, abandoned your family.
Yeah.
Went to the gym 5 times a day. You're living in a fucking camper now, having steroids because this guy is your hero.
Yeah. What have
and yet someone else is the sheep?
What have you done with your
life?
Like
you are like the definition of a sheep.
Yeah.
You literally just fucking followed this shepherd down to at your own demise.
But the right colored sheep.
He pulled you out of nothing, right? I mean, he just bellered at you, and you agreed with what he said. So bam, this is my guy.
And that's what charismatic people can
do. I got to send this guy $50 a month.
Yeah.
And I got to get his number, and I got to be able to text him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's sitting on a beach rocking an umbrella drink.
It's like a drug, right?
It seems to be for people. I couldn't imagine doing that. Like under no circumstance could I ever envision myself joining the Hustlers University or any of these things. Like and who was that? Dan Pena.
Dan Pena was the other one.
$25,000 I think he charged for his sessions. And you ever notice how they're all like white collar job related? Like like he said.
Yeah, they're all people that should be in leadership positions, and they should be alpha males, right?
But like you don't. My point is, you don't catch that guy yelling at a bunch of roughnecks.
No, he walks into a room full of executives and he says, "You're all cunts. You're all fucking pussies."
Right? He said, "Well, when you get home from work and you're complaining, I didn't make this sale and I didn't meet my numbers and I didn't." And I'm thinking, like, what the fuck kind of a job are you talking to?
Yeah,
like you come out and you tell a bunch of fucking electricians that they'll punch you in the mouth. Bunch of plumbers or whatever, right?
So I'll show you who's a pussy.
They seem to really be gaining traction with these soft, white-collared men.
Yeah, soft, lotiony hands.
Who are, and I was just like, could you imagine paying $25,000 to get screamed at? And how the fuck is that going to change you anyways?
Maybe that is the crowd. Maybe that's the crowd that previously they were getting tied up and getting kicked in the nuts by dominatrix. I don't know. Like there could be a whole group of people that's their jam, right?
Well, it does confuse the shit out of me. Like I can't imagine. I've never been in a situation in my life where I was sitting back waiting for my savior to show up online.
No.
So I
mean, there's definitely people that at some point in time in their life, they need to hear that message, right? They need to hear that, hey, get your head out of your ass. Stop scrolling on TikTok. Go out there and be a decent human being or be productive or whatever, right?
Well, then they should make it mandatory roughneck for 2 years.
But that's the thing, literally.
That was a humbling experience for me at 17 years old, working with a bunch of 30, 40, 50-year-olds.
There's ways to do that, and you're probably not going to find that in engineering school, right? So,
I guess that could be it, right? Their lives are so unfulfilling, sitting in a cubicle trying to sell fucking Quicken software to somebody, cold calling them for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, if you've ever watched The Wolf of Wall Street, right? You look at the group of sad individuals that he starts, that Jordan Belfort, right? The people that he worked with off the get-go, and they got literally nothing going for them, right? Their existence is pretty sad. So yell at them for a half an hour, and suddenly that's the catalyst they all need, right? But it doesn't turn them into good people. It just turns them into
certainly not
active, productive, shitty people.
Oh yeah, I think it's more detrimental. Really, I do.
Yeah. We missed Chad's comments here. You can't get enough people to fight fires anymore. It's heavily involved in the forest industry, and it's getting harder to get feet on the ground. Lots of bosses, though. Yeah, everybody wants to be. Everybody wants brass on their collar. It's the same as criticism over getting rid of heli attack crews. It was one dangerous profession. You know, I've heard lots of criticism here over the last few days with specifically with the Fox Creek to Little Smoky fireball. Well, and Clear Hills too, actually. There's not an aircraft in sight, right? Well, they literally can't see it, right? So, and those helicopters, they got to fly low, right? But I mean, you look outside, you know what they look like.
Christ.
I guess like looking through cheesecloth, right? I certainly wouldn't want to put.
I could see less than a quarter mile.
3 power poles, right?
Like less than a quarter. It shocked the shit out of me. It was maybe 200-300 feet when I was coming here.
Put me in a $1 million helicopter, and good luck me getting water on anything. In my pants, I'm going to piss my fucking pants, but I'm not going to put water on the fire, right? And he says, I know a few guys that got hurt at that and fairly ineffective at these types of fire conditions. Yeah, so that's what a lot of the public doesn't understand. There's a term we have in the fire service called crossover, right? So when the relative humidity is lower than the ambient temperature, the fire decides, right? Essentially is what happens, right? So it doesn't matter how much fucking carbon tax you pay. It doesn't matter how many helicopters you have. It doesn't matter how many people in green trousers and yellow shirts are on the ground, how many bulldozers are out there. The fire decides. And the best thing you can do is kind of get out of its way, and hopefully on the calm days, early in the morning or not windy or whatever, try and steer it in a certain direction, right? And all the government funding in the world probably isn't going to change that, you know. But like anything else, it's got to become a political thing, and I think there's a huge portion of society that just lives their life based upon reliance on the government, right? The government should be able to solve this problem for me. I gave you money, therefore you should be able to solve this problem for me. Well, no, that's suckling at the teat of somebody that's not even like, they can't solve that problem for you.
Yeah, well, and then but I mean, to that, I think one thing that, you know, of course, you know, some people do realize that, but I mean, they got to quit telling people that they can't, right? And that's what they do. They sit there.
Well, yeah, I mean,
House of Commons or legislature all fucking day long, and they yell back and forth at each other, saying, "Well, if only I was there to make the decisions, this wouldn't have happened."
Yeah, I just heard Danielle Smith say that the other day. She's like, "Oh, you know, we got $2 billion or $1.75 billion sitting in reserve just specifically for emergency management, and we've got all the resources we need to deal with this wildfire season." Meanwhile, you know, 90,000 hectare fires, you know, a dozen of them burning in the province of Alberta. Out of control. Like, you know, don't spend that money on the fire crews. Spend that money to protect the people, right? That's what you should do. Protect the people. Let the fire do what the fire is going to do. It needs to clean house. And that's a cyclical thing that the world, the earth is deciding that. Nature's deciding that. And I think it's a humbling moment. You know, if you've ever had to sit in front of a fire like that and feel the heat and choke on the smoke, you know, you're not in control, right? There's no amount of fucking suits and ties sitting in the legislature that can decide, you know, this is what's going to happen this wildfire season, right? Everybody's criticizing, okay, well, you know, COVID years, there was like hardly any wildfires in COVID years. Yeah, well, you know what? The weather cooperated. It was a really cold, wet spring. You know, yeah. Had nothing to do with politics.
Well, I do not understand why people are well, why is it only happening in Alberta? Why, you know, and I thought, like, I actually told one person, I said, fucking BC burnt to the ground last year and the year before. Like, it already burnt.
Yeah, we live in the second.
It burnt everywhere.
We live in the second largest matchbox in all of fucking Canada.
When we went
BC.
When we went to the coast that year, I think it was 3 years ago or 4 years ago, we left here in August because the smoke got so bad, and we weren't going to be combining for a week or two, and we thought, you know, we'll make a trip out. It'll be cleaner air. It'll be good. Everyone will get away. We'll go fishing for a couple of days, and we'll come back. When we left, that whole trip was on fire the whole way. The whole fucking northern province of BC was on fire.
Yeah.
So why isn't it burning today? It fucking already burned.
There's nothing left.
There's nothing left to burn.
There's no fine fuels left in that forest floor. It burned all the duff layer out of it.
I mean, unfortunately, when's the last time we had 1 billion acres burn in Alberta? Not in my lifetime.
Not my lifetime, no. Yeah. Chad says heli attack is the boys that slide down. Yeah, they're rappelling out of the helicopters, and I don't know how many guys have actually just literally fallen out of the helicopter. Right? It's a bad fucking day. It's a bad fucking day. Right?
Crazy job.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, so you get a lightning strike, right? And it's like 3-4 hectares, right? So 10 acres. You want to get on that right now.
That's nuts.
That one that started, it's GWF 27. It's over by Simonette Road there, kind of that little smoky area. That was 3 hectares. The next day it was 5,500 hectares. Now it's almost a 40,000 hectare fire, right? So if you're not on it right now, you're not in control.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a tough gig.
We went to that one at Saskatoon Mountain, or not Saskatoon Mountain, Saskatoon Island, and I don't know what started that one. Campground's closed. Fire starts. Can't say for sure what occurred there. But anyways, it starts. Densely populated rural area, provincial campground. We threw like 10 trucks, 50 guys, 5 helicopters at that thing. And like, if we didn't, it was going to be like hell was going to break loose, right? So
Crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel for these, like all through the Peace River Valley and stuff. And like, it's all very densely populated all through there. Same with like the Wapiti River around Grand Prairie, $1 million homes. $1 million homes that are built in the wildland urban interface. It's if I'm going to build $1 million house and I'm going to surround it by pine and spruce, I got to think, okay, I'm no different than the guy that's living in Newfoundland that builds his house on the edge of a cliff and lets the ocean pound away at it, and then I'm just like, well, why isn't the government kind of going to come help me when my house falls into the sea?
That's
right.
That's another reality that people
it's
don't
like
to
putting
hear,
a fucking jerry can of gas beside your kitchen stove, and hey, let's cook a pizza, kids. Like,
right, but you know that is reality, right? You do see that's why those things make the headlines, because they're crazy, like they're crazy things. You know, I mean, even people in California, they're building their multi-million-dollar homes on erodible slopes,
or on those, what do they call those, tectonic plates or whatever.
And you know, you're just like, well, what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
I mean, I know a few years ago there was a lawsuit in one of the subdivisions out of Grand Prairie because the riverbank actually did erode, like you know in our yet again, I think it's a problem in the West in our pursuit for the biggest house on the best situated piece of land with the best view. Everything else be damned. We're going to do this, and then when it doesn't work, and most people with eyes can see that there's a situation here that potentially can develop. Well, we never had a flood before. Well, no, I don't know. I mean, look at things like the Colorado River cut a fairly big chunk of ground out through history. Like things have happened before.
Yeah,
they're bound to happen again.
Yeah, the absence of physical evidence does not prove that it cannot occur.
When you look at river banks and you're just like, wow, this must have been a raging river at one point.
Yeah,
it most likely was.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it didn't just trickle. It could have for 100 million.
Yeah, 100 million years.
And then you got 40-foot span by 80 feet deep. It's possible, I suppose, but I expect a torrent came through every once in a while.
Once in a while, there's probably more than 6 raindrops went through there, right? But yeah, I don't know. Folks are too quick to jump to what they can see immediately in front of them, and not. They get tunnel vision, right?
Yeah, well, then you're seeing lots of you see, especially with social media too now, with all the influencers, TikTok, and these what do they call that? Independent journalists and stuff like that.
Independent journalism, yeah,
they're just running around. That one guy, he pointed out, he said the clips you're using are from the Fort McMurray fire. Like, what are you doing? Why are you stirring this?
Yeah.
Like, there are people that are legitimately concerned. They're looking for legitimate information. They've been evacuated. They want to know the situation of their property, and now you're pumping out nonsense that's just totally irrelevant to get likes and views.
I seen that the other day. Here's a video of the Fox Creek fire, and it was a clip from 2016. I think it was 2016 from the Fort McMurray fire. Like, why would you do that? Why would you propagate misinformation like that? Like, do you think the people that live there don't have enough anxiety already?
It's a very it's a very shameful way to go about things. To boost your numbers,
to get attention, right? I can be the man. I can be the internet hero for the day, right? Yeah. Chad said, poorest idea ever to build inside of an old forest. why I'm surrounded by field and have a tin roof. Got to manage your risk instead of relying on government or insurance. Well, that's the truth. Yeah, but we're way off on a tangent here now from the intended subject. But
well, not really. It's still.
But yeah, like if you're living in an old growth forest, you are by that very decision accepting a phenomenal amount of risk, right? If you're not willing to live in cultivated land and have the wind in your face and have a tin roof and maybe have some water on hand, have a good insurance policy, you should be ready to pack up and leave for 2 weeks every year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's why I laughed. I remember when I used to work on the rigs and I would drive through Whitecourt every month. Right. And Whitecourt used to have this sign when you drove through. It was a fire smart community. And I would just like a vein would just like throb in my head because I just look around and it's like you're surrounded by spruce. You're the least fire. Like what's fire smart about this? You do public education every year. Say, don't stack your firewood beside your home. Maybe move your propane tanks and your barbecue away from your home. If the town of Whitecourt was ever impacted by a wildfire, it would be a gas station fire. Like it would just be a complete burnout. Like it's fucking. And they took the sign down about 15 years ago.
Redirect the river right through the town.
Yeah, they took the sign down because they're not. I mean, maybe they do some public education, but they're not in a good position, right? Not at all.
No.
So, and that's the stuff that the political stuff you can do some action there, right? You can work with the logging industry and say, okay, City of Grand Prairie, County of Grand Prairie, they just did this. Let's just push a massive fire break in here, not 5 cat blades width. We're going to go 200 yards or whatever, right? And push it way back, right? That stuff you can do. You can be proactive with that. Of course, nobody ever does it until shit's on their fucking doorstep, and it just got real, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, in fact, that they fight against it. We had kind of.
Well, the sky is falling.
People that I had talked to, when Northern BC was burning, I thought like, well, if they would, if you'd let them do some selective logging, right? I mean, now there's nothing to log; it's all burned to shit, and now you need more wood to build your houses.
Yeah, now you got to plant more trees.
But if what would have been? We need wood. We haven't figured out a way to get around that yet. So what would be so wrong with? I'm not for clear cutting. I don't want it to look like.
No,
what the fuck, Fern Gully or whatever it is, where
Fern Gully, yeah, that is that. Yeah.
Fuck, I don't like. I'm not a big fan of that.
No,
you just destroy everything and leave a fucking trail behind you that you just.
So you should have established setbacks for public safety. That should be a thing, right? Every municipality should have that, right? I get if you want to live in a cabin in the woods somewhere and just be you and you got 5 chickens and a goat and a unicorn or whatever you keep in your backyard there, but
well, like you said earlier, again, you're assuming these risks, right? You're like, and when these things happen,
but as an individual, you can assume risk. As a society, you have to have a collective agreement, right? There has to be some kind of regulation and governance that comes into play there, right? Chad just said, yeah, every city in the north or city or town in the north should be surrounded by a half mile of grazed pasture or cropland, very effective to halt a fire. Yeah, I mean, even if it's arable land, right? It's cropland. Mm-hmm. It's pretty easy to throw a disc in the ground and stop a lot of stuff, right? I know lots of guys that this year whether they're out discing or whatever, hit a rock. Fuck, there's a fire, right? Do a circle, no harm, no foul. It's done. Except for the 1 or 2 guys that had it, they hit a rock on the bush line or something. Yeah. And it goes, right? But yeah. Anyway, speaking of fires, I cannot keep this thing lit.
Yeah, you're struggling.
How are you making it?
I did relight it once, but
I think this is like time number 3 or 4 for me.
I'm still coming up a little bit.
Very I was expecting, we said full, like medium to full bodied. I was expecting to be maybe a little more peppery or spicy.
Mine's getting there into the half here, second, third.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not getting much. I think find it quite smooth, quite a pleasing cigar if I could keep it lit. Good draw, but
mine's getting a bit harsh.
Yeah.
It's time for a top up here. This is this is a good whiskey.
I'm gonna have to go back and actually find the video where we first tried this.
Yeah, we never kept
see-
tabs on that.
and see why we-
sampling.
You know, maybe it was a short live. I don't know. I'm not sure why we stopped so short. We usually get half a bottle, right? Now we're just at a half a bottle.
Just barely at a half.
You want a little top up there?
I'm gonna take some of your 10,000-year-old water here
See
too.
when.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep. Just want to see how the
I do.
profile changes.
I want to watch the.
How much is left in there?
Alchemy. Oh, it's just 2/3.
Just a drop, right? I guess it lasts a while when you just put a tiny little bit in there. Let's have a try.
You watch it.
The
You just,
fountain of
you
youth.
just do its thing. That's always amazing too.
Just let the water roll through the whiskey like
Just-
smoke, right?
It's incredible.
Yeah. What you do with the cork?
And how much it changes is also
Yeah, how
it's
it
a different drink. when you do
softens
that.
the blow and unlocks a whole nother level of flavor.
So you got some flack over your waiter TikTok, you say? You took some flack there.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I would say it was largely well received, but when you only get 15 seconds, it's really hard to give. I mean, I guess you could do longer videos on TikTok, but I generally try to keep it like that window, right? So it's hard to give everything context and really sit down and explain when you're really just trying to make a quick, bold statement to get something out there. I mean, the point is to get a reaction, right? Not necessarily to offend anybody, but just to trigger some stuff. And so what was it I said? I said I don't tip male waiters because if they want extra income, they can just go pour concrete on the weekends. And the whole theory behind that is, I generally think a lot of people work in the service industry because they have to, right? There's some societal thing that has taken them there, and that's generally one of the only options they have. And I get, this may seem like a terribly sexist thing to say, but largely that industry is populated by women, and I find that, do men have an alternate choice? I mean, what other resource do men have quickly at hand? Is this the strength of their back, essentially, right? You can go do physical labor and not have any kind of particular skill set and make really good money. But I think if you pay a man for a job not done, or not, you pay a man for something he didn't deserve, right? What do you get like a fed bear, essentially, right? You get entitled people, and society doesn't gain any kind of benefit from it, right? I'm not really into tipping anyways. I mean, I do. I'm not going to be cheap about it, but I don't see the benefit to it. There's a lot of places in the world where it's not done.
Yeah.
The price is the price, and they pay their people accordingly. And North America, it's just the way it is.
It seems to be.
Wait.
Well, there was an article like last week I seen pop up that just said, in tipping has gone off the rails, and I think it was out of the United States, and it really has. Like this, I mean, when they hand you machines at, if you've ordered something for pickup and it's just like 20, 25 or 30%,
Well,
you're like, fuck, what? Really?
Right,
Why did it start at 20?
starts at 20, right? Starts at 20.
No longer is
Yeah.
your $40 order of takeout pizza $40. It's like $75.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah.
go home and make one.
Well, and I find that too with especially with like the fast food industry, where there's no service, right? There's preparation and there's delivery, but there's no service. Subway's a really bad one for this, right? Well, what's my tip? Well, I didn't get anything out of this. There was no interaction. You put the cucumbers and the lettuce and the sour cream or whatever.
Literally everything has been designed for you to be the most efficient.
Yeah,
the shit's
like-
pre-cut, the cheese is pre-cut.
Yeah, this is not it's a transaction. It's not an interaction, right? So unless I'm going to get something that's over and above, unless you're going to take that fucking bread and flip it in the air somehow and with a knife and show me something, right? Like a Japanese fucking style sandwich shop. I don't know, but I don't see any artwork that's done there. Right? I don't see anything that just wows me. And even if it was something that wows me, that should be something that's integrated into the price. It's the way it should be, but it's not. And so I don't know. I just, the whole tipping thing doesn't really sit well with me. But like anybody else, when somebody flips that stupid Interact machine towards me and I see that, oh fuck, I got to pick one of these, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you end up, out of guilt, you end up tipping them. But it's like, why?
Well, yeah.
Why? Minimum wage is $15 an hour now. Like I started roughnecking on a fucking drilling rig for $15 an hour, 40 below, freezing my balls off, getting the shit kicked out of me. And
I say that a lot of times.
you made me a fucking sandwich.
There's there's millions of people across this country that are benefiting daily from the work that a roughneck did 50 years ago. There's wells producing that are 50 years old. There's some out by our place.
Well, and
that man never got a fucking tip. He never got a pension. He was considered transient labor. He was laid off at the end of every well, essentially.
Practically a hobo.
Hopefully to be rehired. Fucking gaining any sort of mortgage or loans were difficult for these people because their T4 slips, no matter how large they were, came with the stigma of, well, you're kind of transient.
You're seasonal.
Your seasonal work, your job isn't secure.
Yeah.
And they got, it's not that they didn't even really get appreciation, they got shit on.
Yeah.
Especially in the last 10 years.
Well, sure. I mean, I even went there. I've been there, and you're trying to remortgage your house or renew your mortgage on your house, and they say, "Oh, look at well, your T4 slip says, and it's got all these zeros at the end of it. Show me your last 2 pay stubs." Well, it's fucking April.
Yeah.
Like, what two? Okay, so you want me to pull up a pay stub from February? And they're like, "Well, what do you mean you haven't been paid since February?" Well, you might as well just crawl right out of the gutter.
Exactly.
They just look at But I genuinely don't think that oil and gas workers, especially lots of them in entry level positions like roughnecks, should be considered unskilled labor.
No.
Because there's a bit of gravel in your guts that you got to have, persistence, you got to have perseverance, you got to have to be able to stand out there soaked in fucking invert or oil or condensate or a plethora of toxic chemicals at 40 below for 16 hours a day
with no scheduled break.
With no break, right? And the alternative is to go work at a restaurant and have all of the creature comforts for the same money. They're not the same. They are not the same at all.
No.
Right?
No, they are definitely not. When you can when you can punch out and you're 5 minutes from home and you just head on home as opposed to, going back to camp and enjoying that for the next 14 days.
Yeah.
No, it's, it's split too. Although, that being said, I do get it. When we went on our honeymoon, it was kind of an eye opener for me. So if you follow the Rocky Mountains in North America and you go down, or you follow them down through Colorado and then where they finally play out, fairly oil weighted. There's oil jobs there. There's operators, there's drillers, there's the oil patch activity, basically the whole way. Now, if you get out of there, there's not. So definitely limited options, I suppose. But, there's still, like you said, there's concrete to pour, there's roofs to shingle, there's decks to build, and there's landscaping to be done, and there's all of these options.
There's opportunities for growth and production.
It doesn't have to be roughnecking. Where we, a lot of times, like I told some of my friends this, when they back in the bar days when they would get pretty cocky and confident, and I would say, well, you should be a little more grateful too. Like, it's it's a bit of a handicap living here. You're removed from a lot of things. I mean, the beach isn't very close and things like that, but or big urban centers and everything that comes with them aren't very close. You're not going to go to SeaWorld for the day, but I mean, you can kind of step out of high school into a pair of work boots and pull down $80,000, no problem.
Yeah, if you're willing to stand out,
doesn't happen.
Stand out in the cold or the blazing sun or whatever, and you can make a pretty good life for yourself, but it comes with a lot of sacrifice. Yeah. Mark said, Chad, the only thing people always comment on Chad's here. The only thing people are worried about are putting in solar panels in good farmland and subdivisions and yeah, you know what? The whole subdivision thing that rubs me the wrong way too, especially especially in good farmland where you see people like they create these miniature towns, hamlets, basically in good farmland. When you think about land productivity and the purpose that serves in the whole ecosystem, what does a subdivision provide for the ecosystem? The only productivity that land will ever produce ever again is tax revenue.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So just strictly from an economic standpoint,
It's
right?
tax revenue. That's it, right? Because it's never going to grow a crop. It's never going to feed a cow. It's never going to feed a family. It's gonna feed the machine. It's really sad.
It is. It is.
Well,
we actually we just went out to check on some crops and things, and when we were driving around, we had pointed that out too.
Yeah.
There's two acreage subdivisions that have been created on decent farmland, which then of course listed for ridiculous prices, $70,000-$80,000 for a bare 10 acres with nothing, no power, no water, no septic, no nothing.
that's probably even cheap.
Well, of course, where it is, it isn't. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, probably cheap for 10 acres. Consider it subdivided. Of course, that now you're effectively saying that same farmland is now valued at $8,000 an acre because somebody put something different on a piece of paper.
Because they drew an invisible line on
drew an invisible line and changed it.
Yeah.
Changed 2 letters and a number.
Yeah. Well, that's no different than the neighbors right here, right? Because they got that 14-acre subdivision out of our quarter. That's $300,000 all day long.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a 50-year-old Quonset and a fucking shitty 16 wide or 12 wide trailer. It's worth nothing. It's absolutely worth nothing. But because there's a line on the map that says, oh, here's this plot of land. Just keep adding zeros, right? And you take that same asset and you move it into town. It's worth $60,000. And even that's too much for what's there.
But people don't like being told what they can do with their land. And I mean, I'm kind of on the fence about that. But there definitely has to be a little more.
Sure, but that's the ultimate exploitation.
Well, and it really is. And that's where it's, it's got to be a little more with these, development committees and
land use bylaw, right?
Things like that, where people have to, like somebody asked me, they said, well, what would your solution be? And I said, well, I mean, I don't really have one, but what I would like to see is somebody come with a plan, right? If you're a landowner and you want to make a subdivision, come with a plan. Be like, yeah, well, there's this young family. They're very interested in moving here, and this is the plan.
Yeah.
You don't just go in and say, oh, I want to subdivide 5 subdivisions off my land and list them all for $500,000 because I'm a minute from the city.
Yeah.
And, it's just, it's not for that. Then the other thing, and we've seen this quite a bit in our area specifically, anytime this happens where you start to see a migration of people from a really densely populated urban area out into a subdivision, into a small town, develop, like you say, their little own rural communities, then they start to want the same amenities that are available in the city.
There's no assimilation, right?
Not everybody can have a $25 million hockey arena. Not everybody can have a $17 million aquatic center.
No.
But that's what you see happening. And then you get these people on these boards and they're, well, we deserve it. Look, we got lots of oil patch activity and look at all the taxes that we pay and we should get this. And you think like, well, why didn't you just stay in the city?
No, yeah, no. When I moved to the country, I fully accepted the fact that when I go to Costco or I go wherever I'm going to go for my groceries, I need to buy 3 jugs of milk, and I'm going to freeze 2 of them, and I got enough, so I don't have to go there every day. But instead, I got to live with $5,000 a year tax bill because they got to have a multi-million-dollar arena in La Glace, and they got to have another thing in Claremont, and it's like. Claremont is really rubs me the wrong way because you're literally seconds from the city.
I think they're connected now.
There's no you can't differentiate when one stops and the other one starts, right? They got to have that county sportsplex. Well, why would they not just put money into the city resources? right? Especially in that situation. But yeah, no, every small town needs to have a giant hockey rink and a giant swimming pool and giant walking trails. And
Well, this could have been sort of part of our excess distorting reality.
Yeah.
Like I watched a few people do this now. So in the town of Hythe, there's the school playground, which of course is public, right? I mean,
sure,
it'll be generally people don't go play during school hours, but after school there's a playground for your kids. You can take them down there and play. But there's
Yep.
also a couple. There's one for sure, and it used to be just across the back alley from the house that I lived in town.
Yep.
And the amount of play centers that I see built in people's backyards, and I'm thinking like the community and the town councils built this nice park.
Yeah.
My dad comments it all the time. So when my kids go for a sleepover, they want to go down to the park because the park is just down the street from.
well, I could
my
solve that
dad's.
problem. I could solve that problem today.
And he said they go there, and it's just him and my kids.
Yep.
Nobody else is there.
Yep.
And someone like him. I mean, and we joke all the time with him. Like when my boy gets something new, I say, "Well, your grandpa had that when he was little too, when he was 5. He was playing on his iPad or something." Like my dad came from a place where they didn't have anything, and now he sees this big park built, and it's so underutilized. And out of the other side of these people's mouths, they want more stuff. They want Hythe wants to build a spray park. They want more and more shit that people won't use. They're not going to use it.
You know what they would use it though? If they spent $300 a month and they put Wi-Fi in the park,
Well, that would be true.
that's half the problem, right? Folks want to sit at home. They want to watch Netflix while the kids play in the backyard.
Yeah, that is true.
Right. Put a fucking coffee like an ice cream stand and a coffee shop and free Wi-Fi in the park, and everybody would come out to it. It might actually generate revenue.
Well, when we went last summer, the summer before last, I guess, we went on our little 2-week trip, went to Saskatchewan, and I hate camping. I hate it. It's a bit of a sore subject between me and my wife because my wife does like it.
That's where I'm going tomorrow.
I just don't see the point of it. I really don't. Like where we live is literally a campsite. Like it's literally a campsite. If the fire ban wasn't on, you could step out of your house and have a campfire, and then like I don't get why we want to go to Swan Lake for the weekend. I don't understand that. It's fucking 25 minutes down the road. It's mosquitoes. Fucking lake sucks. It's gross. There's no decent lakes in Alberta. There's not one. I mean, with maybe.
You're right. There's no rules that says you can't just go sleep on your lawn. You can go sleep outside. Nobody can stop you. But you'll go somewhere and you'll pay somebody to sleep on their lawn.
Well, that's it, right? There's no hookups. There's no anything. So you drag your whatever $1,000 camper there. You back it in. The wind blows your awning off. You're pissed off. The water leaks anyways. There's mosquitoes and the kids are dirty. And you can't even get them a bath. They
haven't showered in 3
covered
days.
in leeches.
Yeah.
They smell like campfire all day long. It just sucks. And then
A heartburn from eating fucking hot dogs and
hot
chips.
dogs, right, and chips. And then come fucking Saturday morning, you got to be up and early and pack all the shit that you just unpacked the day before, shove it all in there, and drag this piece of shit home, fixing all the shit that is with the list of shit that broke while you were camping.
Yeah.
And it just makes no sense to me.
Spend
It
Monday,
really doesn't
Monday,
make sense.
Tuesday on the toilet shitting out fucking hot dogs.
So, anyways, she was like, "Well, you don't even want to do anything." And I said, "No, that's not fair. That's not true. What I wouldn't mind doing is taking the car and we'll stay in towns. We don't live in towns. We live on a rural property amongst the trees.
Yeah.
And we have the kids got their little go-kart and we got swings and shit.
Of an amazing quality of life.
Why don't we go? We'll stay in the hotel. Then nobody has to cook. Nobody has to clean. The kids can shower every night. We can eat out, and we'll go to some museums, and we'll go to the parks in town. And so when we took this trip, it amazed me that most of the parks that we stopped at, it was just us.
Yeah, that's right.
There's nobody there.
Nobody goes there.
Nobody goes to the playgrounds. And we stopped. We made it a point. Like, you don't want to lock the kids up for fucking 7 hours.
No.
So we can get to Saskatoon tonight, get to fucking Regina, get to Lethbridge, get to Calgary, get home. We stopped at every town. We detoured. We went here. We went there. We went to some hot springs and things like that. I really enjoyed that style of a holiday. But to load up the fifth wheel and go to Spring Lake for the weekend just fucking confuses me. It really confuses me.
Yeah.
I don't get that. To load up the camper and go to the shoe swaps for the week, all right, I could do that.
Yeah.
Or fucking forget hauling the camper because it's going to cost you that much in fuel to get the fucking thing down there.
Well,
Just
and that's
rent a
the thing.
cabin there.
That's the thing.
Take the car, then you're not tied either. You don't have to worry about your fifth wheel and where you're going to park that or your camper. You can just stay in town and you can rent a boat. You don't own a boat in the fucking thing, so if it fails, it's someone else's problem. And then you can go into a nice restaurant in town and you can go to a show and you can go because we can do all this other camping shit. We do it every day, every fucking day.
Yeah.
We're just gonna gear up here to get on the cord cutting fucking week here, so we have enough wood for like. Is that not enough wood fucking splitting for everybody that they need to do it now on Saturday for the fucking fire that or drive home and get a propane tank so we can have a propane fire?
Yeah.
All sit around and be miserable. Fucking.
Well,
I hate
propane
camping.
fires. Yeah, propane fire. What a waste. But nothing screams city folk like a propane fire.
Well, that one year when we went to Swan Lake with friends of ours, we actually had to leave Swan Lake, drive back to the blast, get the fucking propane thing because you couldn't have a fire.
Yeah.
Drive back out there and then sit there
And look at that.
in the mosquitoes and the wind and the
How
smoke.
disappointing.
And think like, meanwhile, I'm thinking like I'm 25 minutes from my house. Why don't I fucking just go home and then I can do something for 20 minutes and then not be mad? But I mean, I know there's people that like camping. I get it, but fucking, I'm not one of them. Never will be one. Don't understand it.
I don't mind camping. Like I grew up with like, okay, well, let's like camping, not like let's take a $50,000 trailer out and basically have a house on wheels and have TV and internet and, you know, home cooked meals and everything because you got an oven and everything in there, right? It was like you live in a tent for a weekend and it was fucking miserable, but it built character, right? That was the point of going camping, is it built character and you had an experience and there was some suffering in there and it put some steel in your balls, right? But just today, actually, I hauled ours to Good Fair because we were going to have a couple days, depending on the weather conditions here, but we're going to have a couple days with some friends. My buddy's got a little acreage out at Good Fair he bought this year. And the kids all want to get together, you know, they want to get together and the kids can all play together. And, you know, that's a once or twice a year event where they all kind of get together and they do the thing. And the kids really like it. Right. And I don't mind that. I can drag that camper to Good Fair, which is whatever, 10 kilometers. And it's all pretty much highway. And I don't have to fix anything when I get back, by and large. But I know, you know, we got a family reunion in Innisfail this year on Carmen's side. And she even said that the other day. She's like, well, like, you think we want to take the camper there? Fuck no. Like, no. I don't want to drive 80 kilometers an hour all the way to Innisfail because I'm dragging a fucking stone boat behind me. Like, this thing's like 1.5 times beyond the GVW of this pickup truck. No, I don't want to drag that thing there. Or, you know, last year we went to the Shuswap actually, and we're like, no, we're going to rent a cabin because we're not dragging that stupid trailer there. And we did actually on the way there. We stopped, I don't know, a dozen times or more along the way. Stopped at the park, let the kids get out, stretch their legs, right? Move a little bit so they're not so antsy. And you're right, we were the only ones. We were the only ones that were in the parks.
Well, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure it did grow on my wife, and she was like, she kind of got it. I mean, she still likes camping, obviously.
What a disappointment this cigar is.
She, like when we went to, I think it was in Regina, and they had that big Central Park, and there's a museum right there, like kind of a pretty like a dinosaur one, whatever. And it had history of Alberta and stuff in it.
Where was that? Drumheller?
No, we went to Drumheller. We went to Drumheller as well, but this was in Regina, like right in the city.
Oh, okay.
So we, we had stayed on the outskirts of the city, and then in a hotel with a water slide and everything. And we went there. I mean, it's another thing that I totally despise is public swimming pools. I just hate them. But since I had kids, we go to the water park once. Try to go once a year.
Well, there's nothing better in a hotel with a water slide and free breakfast.
Because whatever. Farm kids, they do get put through a lot, especially on the grain side. Spring and fall are kind of rough on them. They're spending a lot of time. This spring was different. I mean, unfortunately, my parents are close by, so my mom was there. They didn't have to ride hours and hours in the tractor, which was a fucking joy that I wasn't fucking blessed with. But anyways, harvest is usually different, right? It is rough on them. They get home, someone picks them up on the bus or off the bus, and then they jump on a combine.
Yeah.
So we try to make it a point to take them somewhere for a day or two in the winter to the water park or whatever. just for that reason. And so that's growing on me. So, you know, when we go to the water slides, we have some fun there. And then in the day, we can go into the city and we go to different shops. I hate shopping too, but
I hate shopping.
You got to do something, right? So they can go look through things, and Corey gets on her phone and goes on the TripAdvisor and finds out interesting places to look at.
Yeah.
And to me, like, the day is pretty active. But like, even when we used to holiday with my parents, and my dad he can't sit on a beach either, and I can't. So, like, we'd go to a resort, and he'd like instantly book a week's worth of excursions. Yeah. So you're up at 6, you're in the lobby, you're on the bus at 7, and
make
you're
it
back
worth your while
at like 7 at night. But you've gone and you've seen a whole bunch of stuff.
If I wanted to sit on my cunt, I could have done that at home and looked out my kitchen window.
Well, I've joked with people. I said, like, if that's all you want to do, just go down to fucking Home Depot, buy 4 or 5 bags of sand, and dump it on the floor in your bathroom and flush a shitter every once in a while. Sound water.
Yeah,
there you go. You got her. You got
her made. Yeah.
Like, I can't
hire a fucking guy.
Beach.
Hire a guy to come in and make you fucking fancy coffees in the morning or whatever if you
want. That's why even when we took our honeymoon, it was a few days in San Francisco, then on a plane flew to New York City, then we spent 3 or 4 days there, then on a plane flew to Nashville, and then spent, I think, 5 days there, and then on a plane flew home.
Yeah.
Like, it was, but we've seen a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean, what's the point of just sitting around and doing nothing?
But I wasn't having a fucking let's go to Turks and Caicos and lay on the beach for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, just not at all. Like, I don't even think we packed shorts. Like 4 pairs of shoes. Like, fucking, that was it.
We're gonna put some miles on
things out.
Yeah.
And it was, there's been quite a few people because she did a really nice book on it. And they're like, oh, that's a fucking interesting honeymoon. I'm like, well, fuck it. It was, and it was.
Man.
It was interesting.
I can't wait till next month when we go to England. I'm gonna put a fucking grease nipple in my mother-in-law because she got a knee replacement last year, and she's gonna need another one when she gets back because we're gonna put miles on.
Good thing it's not a real big country.
My wife it's like the size of Alberta, right? So I mean, but there's lots of stuff to do there. And the wife keeps out like, "Are we gonna have time to do all that? We're gonna have time. Are we gonna have time? Like, don't forget we have children. Like, they're gonna need to sleep and shit and eat and stretch and." No, we're gonna move. We're gonna move constantly. Boom, 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 boom. Because if you're gonna sit around, well, fuck, I could sit around at home and not spend 10 grand. So
that's the other thing, and this is kind of an unfortunate thing. I mean, we do take pictures or whatever, but the whole like, oh, do you want to see pictures from my trip? And I'm thinking like, fuck, no, not really. Like, unless there's a special one with you in it, because you know what I can do right now is I can just bring it up and get a world-class photographer that has taken a fucking picture of what you took, and so it's not a shitty grainy picture from your shitty iPhone
picture.
It's like, and I can really see it. I can watch a whole fucking documentary on what you took a picture of.
Yeah.
So when you go for yourself,
that's right.
Fucking, if you got some cool information when you get back, if people aren't more than interested to hear about it, they're fucking assholes. But if you're the person with 85 slides of fucking nonsense or 85 books of slides, it's like, all right, we'll dial it back.
That's for you.
Who'd you go for? Like, who'd you go for me? Because fucking maybe one day I want to go.
Yeah, right. Thanks for ruining it for
now
me.
I don't know if I can have to go.
Yeah. Let's save myself $2,000 by looking through your phone.
Is anybody else like camping or what? Who's all not?
Chad says he's with you. He's like, fuck camping. I want to do things we can't do at home. If you're cooking and cleaning, it's not a holiday. Yeah, you know what? I can't disagree. A few years ago, it's more than a few years ago now, we took a couple all-inclusive holidays, and Mexico, Cancun, kind of Playa del Carmen, that kind of thing, right? It's very like low budget, but it's all inclusive, and you don't have to worry about anything. And I don't mind that trip in, November to February, somewhere in there.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
You're going to go there, and it sucks fucking dick being at home in anywhere between November and February. It sucks, right? It's 40 below. The wind is like, because of course it's always windy here, but like it just bites, and it's really irritating to be home every day because you can't do anything. Nothing's productive, right? Go there, have a guy make you fancy coffees, sit at the buffet, eat too much food, and it's 30 degrees, get a sunburn. Day 3, I'm like, fuck me, get me out of here. I got to go see something though, right?
Yeah. I
can't sit around and do stuff. So,
well, and I was going to say, like, those are the most advantageous trips to take because they're generally 100% tourist based. So if you're willing to go down to the lobby and grab a couple flyers off the stand, when Corey and I went to Cabo, that was the first trip. We were just dating at the time. It was the first trip we took, and of course, she'd only ever traveled with her parents. Up until that point, I'd only ever traveled with mine.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting to see the similarity or the differences, I guess, of how this was going to go down.
Sure.
Because I think we probably 5 nights we didn't even eat there. We ate out at restaurants in Cabo.
Around.
But there was that Cabo
around town.
Waffle. That's kind of a fucking. It's sort of a famous
It's
place.
the whole thing, yeah.
Right. So we went there. We went scuba diving. We went ziplining. We went fucking all sorts of shit. And like every day, there was probably 3 days out of 2 weeks where it was just at the hotel, sit at the pool, read a book.
Yeah.
I don't read, so that's not going to fucking work. But whatever. Lots of times it was walking up and down the beach because I just after about 45 minutes in a fucking lounger and just like,
Yeah.
the fuck did we come here for?
Well, I think if you're gonna go to a destination if you're gonna go to a destination that's warm in the wintertime though, and I had an eye opener when we were in Mexico last time. We went to we were in Tulum, and we were from the resort. We had to take a 4-hour bus ride to Tulum to go see that big what is it? Not a pyramid, but it's
The Inca thing.
The Inca thing.
Aztec
It's Mayans
thing
or whatever.
yeah.
Mayans, yeah. So yeah. Totally inappropriate there. It's got the wrong culture, but it's the Mayans. Anyways, on the way back, I'm thinking like, fuck, why did we come here and sit on this stupid fucking bus? I could have just rented a car and just gone there and not paid all this money and not had to deal with the tour guide. And it cost a lot of money to go on this excursion. For if I could have just rented a car, we could have gone there and had the same experience, come back within a couple hours, gone back to the buffet and ate too much food and got fancy coffees, right?
Yeah.
I would have saved $1,000. But anyways, on the way back, the fucking bus breaks down. And all of a sudden, like the bus driver's like trying real hard to start this bus. He's like, oh, like we're not in a good neighborhood here. This is not good, right? And all of a sudden, all these motorbikes converge on the bus and they surround the bus. And we're like, oh, like, I'm gonna get ransomed, or I'm gonna get fucking raped, or I don't know what's gonna happen, but I don't know if I have enough money to not get raped at this deal. Like it's gonna be whatever's gonna happen, it's gonna be bad. Anyways, turns out this is a biker gang.
Of mechanics.
Not mechanics, no. But they're paid. Everybody's taking a piece, right? Everybody's paid off in Mexico, right? So they're paid specifically to make sure nobody fucks up with the tourist industry. So that the drug cartels or whatever that would kidnap all these people and ransom them don't come in and fuck up the tourist industry. So the bikers surround the bus so that nobody can fuck with them until we can basically park door to door with another bus. There's not even enough room to like get a bullet through between, right? Walk off one bus into the other bus, and then the bikers escort us for probably another 10, 15 kilometers until they're like, okay, you guys are on your way, and then get back to the resort, right? If I would have been in a rental car, I don't even know what kind of cars they have in Mexico, like a Yugo or like what, some fucking piece of shit. Guaranteed it would be a piece of shit. It would break down, and I'd be there with the family, vulnerable as fuck. And it wouldn't matter how much money I saved at that point in time, right? So
That's a good one.
take the fucking tour bus. Take the tour bus.
Yeah, things can get exciting.
I cannot keep this thing lit.
Do
your state, like, have you relit that thing?
I'm not gonna. I read it twice, I think. That was one of the cool things about exploring when we were down at the. Of course, you go to the marina too, right? When you go, you can't not go to the marina, and it was interesting. I'm looking at all the boats.
Well, look at the boats, yeah.
A couple of boats registered in Edmonton. I thought, like, you know what, this is an idea. I like boats.
How rich is that guy?
But I'm looking at the thing, and then of course, right on you go on the yacht buying website, and you're just like, wow, for $150,000, you could buy a live aboard boat, and for like $40 a month, you could have it moored in the arena or wherever the fuck they call it, full hookups.
Yeah.
They got shower facilities and restaurants right at the marina. You could like live here instead of buying a house for $400,000 or $500,000 in a gated community. You could like buy a boat and fucking live on that boat for a month in the winter.
Yeah.
And you want to go out and anchor out and watch the whales and come back. I mean, I learn how to drive an ocean boat or whatever. But anyways, we're down there looking, and I get to talking to one guy, and he goes, "What are you guys up to?" I said, "Oh, we were dating at the time, and because that's what honeymoon. I said, "No, we're just down here checking things out." He said, "Oh, you got to come out. We can get closer to the whales than the tourists can." Could have been bullshit. Fuck, I don't know. But
That's how you get raped.
I was like, "Well, what kind of a boat do you got?" He's like, "Come check this out." And he had like this big, cool fucking boat, and I was like, "Well, fucking sure, we'll go." He's like, "All right,
Yeah.
it's $100, like $50 a person, and I'll come get you in an hour or so. I'll meet you at that bar there." So I gave him $100 because I'm fucking naive as shit, and I was like, "This is gonna be fucking awesome." Because we were going to go whale watching or whatever. And this fucking guy is going to take us out personally, just the two of us.
Yep.
And he said to meet at this bar. So we go fuck around for a bit more. And then we're sitting at the bar having drinks, getting closer to the time. Nobody. Fucking like 2 minutes to, he comes rolling up. "All right, we're ready." He had a whole cooler full of shit.
No way.
He had like 2 other people. This one guy was a fucking coolest guy ever. Fucking gay as any rainbow. He was a fucking fashion designer, and he was like, I was like, "Well, what are you doing?" He's like, "Fucking, actually, believe it or not, I'm out looking at whale vomit." And I was like, "Well, what the fuck?"
Whale vomit.
Apparently, there's something in whale vomit that's extremely valuable that they use in perfume.
Wow.
That also could be bullshit, but
Who knew?
Made a fucking great story. And anyways, yeah, so for like $50 a piece, it was like all the booze, 2 other people on the boat, plus him and his buddy. Cool fucking like speedboat type thing. And yeah, he said that's what he does.
Wow.
He fucking just picks off people that look like they're bored and takes them out into the Sea of Cortez.
That shit never happens to me.
It was awesome.
Like,
it was fucking awesome.
Like I'm like straight up no hablo inglés. Like when I go to one of those places, like I pretend that I have a fucking forgot my hearing aid. I don't listen to nobody because if somebody said, "Oh yeah, come check out my boat," I'd end up with like, "Oh yeah, no, it's come check out my boat." Like it's just down this alleyway, and I'd end up stuffed in the back of a van.
Well,
wake up in a bathtub full of fucking ice cubes, missing my kidney or something.
It's funny you say that because like all my life I've been like a shy person. Like I say, I'm a natural introvert. But when I get away from here,
yeah.
Oh fuck, airport bars. When I used to work in the States, man, I would talk to anybody there.
Just knocking out shapes.
Like a 3-hour dinner with he was another young guy. He was a fucking engineer at the Hershey's factory. Fucking, I was like, he's like, yeah, all day long. If you want ice cream, you just walk out and fucking.
Just like that, eh?
Ice cream bars everywhere.
Huh.
It's like, fuck, that's fucking cool. So yeah, I'll talk to anybody. So one day I'll end up in an ice bath with no liver, but
yeah. Chad's going to Iceland? Holy man. That would be cool. We'll hang out in a volcano. He's not going where he can get raped. Yeah, I think Iceland's.
Well, ideally, that's not the end game.
They haven't.
Like, no
they haven't done much raping in about
low
700 years.
Low rape statistics.
Low rapes per quarter. Yeah. He's taking a tour, no driving, cooking, no worries about nothing. If I'm bored, I'll read my Louis L'Amour books for a while. Yeah. Yeah, isn't that something? Well, this thing thickened up. It's very, it's hard to stay lit, but it's very, it's a dense, thick smoke in the final half here. What's yours?
I went the other way.
You leaned up?
Real harsh.
Did you light yours backwards or what?
I went through a real harsh stage there where actually I was hitting the drinks pretty hard there to get her down, and then it softened right up.
Yeah, well, that's why mine's empty right now, because I was like, oh, this is like. It's like dipped in diesel fuel all of a sudden. Like on a cold morning, a cold start on the tractor. Like, yeah.
Slopping in there. Well, it's pretty good. It's pretty good smoke though, really.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the scotch or the cigar, but I'm getting like really hot. Like
you're getting like physically hot.
Physically hot.
Yeah.
Like I need to take my coat off.
And it shouldn't be the ambient temperature because it's actually quite cool in the shop here as opposed to outside. Well, today was a cooler day anyways.
It was. When that smoke started rolling in at like 3 o'clock, at least out our way, and within an hour you couldn't see more than 300-400 feet.
Well, yeah, I took a picture from our kitchen window, and I couldn't see the plastic in the garden.
It's brutal.
Like, it's not very far from the edge of the house.
Brutal.
Yeah. Mark says they have a weird language in Iceland. Yeah, I think in Iceland, like English isn't even really a second language. It's like there's a ton of people that like speak English, right? We're really hoping when we go to Amsterdam, it's kind of the same way, right? But hope they can understand swearing cowboy over there. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Eight other folks on here, and then only a couple comments.
That's an interesting thing about English, actually. The how many Norse words are in the English language?
Okay.
Yeah, English is it's a Germanic. It's not a Latin language. Like, it's not a European language. It's like a Germanic with a lot of Norse influence in it. Yeah, there's very few Latin words in English. There's a big vowel shift that happened in the 1500s that if you were to listen to old English, it would sound more like German and Norse than it would actually English.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, if you're one of the six there that isn't commenting, make sure you jump in there, participate a bit, and you get your. If you don't know about the cups, there's a couple. We give a cup away every time.
Yeah.
All you got to do is leave a comment.
Sip of water here. Holy man, that's getting thick.
Well, I don't think we're going to be venturing anywhere this summer either. There's lots of landscaping to do.
Yeah, how's that coming with the house? You're all settled in there now?
It is. Well, I fired up the old recirculation thing there, so it sucks the cold air out of the basement upstairs.
Yeah.
I don't actually think that we needed air conditioner. Like, the basement is so
We got lots of
cold.
tree cover there, right? So
Yeah.
you should be good, yeah.
But I mean, like, she put some pretty big windows, and of course, I mean, a new build or whatever, it was marginally more just to do it, right? So we're like, you know what?
Well, you can't beat natural daylight in the
We'll
especially in the wintertime, right?
we're just gonna whatever. She wants these windows and whatever. With the air conditioning, like I say, the unit was marginally more just to do it at the same time. So
Yeah.
we'll get it done. But I really don't, because a couple people I guess were messaging for friends were like, "Oh, you probably love that air conditioner this week." Well, yeah, we never turned it on.
No. You did
Like,
put one in though?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
But the basement is so cold. I don't understand how it can be so cold. But like
Well, that's what
uncomfortably cold in the winter.
we found like this past week, because we got the air conditioning put in, and it's ran. Like, I don't care who you are, when it's 35 degrees outside, we're gonna run the AC.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
it's fucking hot. It's hot as shit upstairs. But so you get the upstairs down to, like, say 22. Like, we're not gonna try and get it to 18 or 17 like we normally run it in the wintertime. But you get down to like 22. But you go in the basement, and you could store cheeses and like cured meats down there.
Mhm.
Like, it would just be, it's fine. Like, it's cold. It's like really cold.
Well, that's why, however the furnaces work, like our house in Hythe had the same thing where it would suck that cold air and blow it up through the heat vents upstairs. And it's like when I left today, because I shut it off yesterday because I wanted to see, and it was like 26 degrees upstairs.
Well, that's, I think, what I need to figure out is, because I think ours is pulling pretty much expressly from the outside. Of course, we've got cold air returns in there, but there's not like a selector valve in there where I can say, like in the car, right, where you can just recirc everything. Because if you could just pull just out of the basement and shut the exterior air off, I think that would help balance significantly, right?
Well, yeah.
If you're pulling in air that's 35 degrees and trying to cool that off,
Yeah, it's not happening.
that's not very efficient, right?
But I know that, and it warmed up. It warmed the basement too. I actually felt pretty bad for the kids. Just like when we moved in there, because we moved in November, and the alarm clock that Corey bought for my daughter has a thermometer on it. It was 16 degrees in her room.
Well, that's how Finley's room is. 'Cause it's on the north side of the house, so it's always cold in there.
That's actually quite uncomfortable to wake up to in 15, 16 degrees.
Yeah, like that's not.
Right, like so.
But
But why can they like? Because the windows upstairs, and my dad was saying this too, that I mean, lots of like we only put in double pane windows because triple pane was twice the money.
big
But
money. Yeah.
when the sun's shining in the windows in the winter, our furnace never ran.
That's how our house is too.
Like it was so hot. So why can't you, or why isn't there a provision to suck the hot air from upstairs and blow it downstairs in the winter?
Almost, yeah. Just
And in the summer, pull the cold air out of the basement.
take your furnace motor and just
Give
take
it
the wires the other way.
give it the old
Put her on
swappy
suck
swap.
instead of blow.
That's what they should have, though. It's probably a bajillion-dollar idea.
Yeah. That's one thing I like about our covered deck, right? So in the summertime, when the sun is higher, the covered deck provides some insulation.
Your house would be a micro.
It
you
would
got
be
some massive windows.
massive
on the
windows
south
in the
side.
front. Yeah.
Like, ooh,
But in the wintertime, when the sun's low,
beautiful
it
lake,
comes
but-
in. It comes in and actually will heat up. Our living room will be 24, 25 degrees in the wintertime, and we turn the circulating fan on just to move air in the house to pull cold air out of the basement.
Yeah,
because it's too warm in the upstairs, right? So, of course, not when it's 30 below. There's no power.
Well,
the sun can't beat 30 below, but when it's minus 15 or something like that, it's very effective, right?
Well, we were surprised because we watched our energy bills pretty closely, and it didn't change from not having the house to having it.
No, eh?
Nope.
Well, that's really good.
It shocked it.
Well, if anything,
shocked
it should
my
have
dad.
been
Like,
should have been better almost, right?
Shocked him.
It's more square footage, but you got a better insulated house, right?
Yeah, I
From
but
the trailer, right?
Yeah, you would because we kept the trailer warm too, right? So
Yeah.
between the trailer and the shop, and it was a bit of a cold winter too for times. So
You top up.
I'll have a splash more, you betcha.
Say when
It's just a finger there, you betcha. Perfect.
finger.
Perfect. But I definitely don't regret it. A few extra square feet is pretty helpful.
Room to breathe, hey?
So
Yeah.
plus my
Has your house started to like I don't know how many flat surfaces you got in your house? Do you have a problem with flat surfaces?
as far as
Oh fuck, I hate flat surfaces. If I find a horizontal surface, it's like I don't know if we have an elf that lives in our house that just puts shit on flat surfaces, but everywhere we go there's a flat surface, it accumulates something.
well, that's why
Even
you
the
build
floor,
them.
even the floor. Like I was just with kids, right?
Yeah,
Just like
no, we got a lot of shit like all over the place, all the
more
time.
space, just ended up with more stuff, and then we find that it's so overwhelming some days because you just look at it as like the house, 2 young kids, the house is just a fucking disaster, and you look at that and you're just like, where do I even start? Nowhere. I'm not even gonna fucking start, right? Because you're just like, I can't. Your brain can't even process where to begin, right? So you just don't do it. You just live in a fucking pigsty.
Well, that's I know like coming off of seating and then coming off of fall will be the same way. There's a
Yeah.
lot that gets a lot that gets left put off.
Yeah.
Because
Well, what happens in our house is we'll just go 2 weeks. We won't clean the house for 2 weeks. I shouldn't say not clean the house. Like you still clean up after yourself or whatever, but it's just the general untidiness, right? It's not that it's not clean, it's just not tidy. But then you eventually just get so frustrated and angry that you'll just hate clean the house, right? And the wife has to do it by herself, or I have to do it by myself. We can't do it together because then it just there's just a fight. Right? So I wait till she's at work. I'll clean the porch. I'll clean the kitchen, or I'll do the living room. We got to take a separate room. We can't possibly work on tidying the same room. It just doesn't work, right?
that's why I do my part by being very absent. I make sure that my presence hasn't created any adverse effects to the home.
Yeah.
And then my absence creates an opportunity for things to be different when I get back. And if they're not, I mean, whatever. That's it too.
Yeah.
But I don't create a problem.
Yeah, I find that difficult. Because we're just I don't know. I'd say we're busy, but that's a pretty shitty excuse because everybody's busy, right? But you come back at the
This is a legitimate excuse.
yeah, like when you work away from home or whatever, and I find you work. I don't know. I get paid significantly. I get paid for a lot less hours than I end up working, right? But then you come home and you're just fucking bagged and trying to work with the kids, do stuff with the kids, right? Still manage the farm, and yeah, picking up toys, doing laundry, shit like that. Thank goodness we got a full-size laundry room so that we can get a full mountain of clothes and just make a day of it when it's laundry day. Because my goodness, I don't know. Like, you go visit some people and you're just like, how does your house look like this? Like I don't know how they keep your house that clean.
We got
Like showroom condition.
Well, our friends from the last are like that. When you walk in there and it never doesn't look like it's a showroom. Like, never.
Yeah.
Even they were doing a bunch of like renovations on their kitchen and stuff, and it still was like, it just was shocking. And there's not that they don't have anything. We have lots of stuff.
But you like, what? Where do they put it?
I don't know. It's amazing. I mean, of course, their kids are older though, so that problem is eliminated, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we thought too, because originally we were going to try to build a ranch style house, because that just basements are just irritating to me.
Sure.
Our house in town, when we were living there, it was just the two of us, we never went downstairs. All we did was cart dirty laundry down and clean laundry up, or go downstairs to the deep freeze. That's it. And then, so in this house, we put main floor laundry. She built herself a big pantry with stand-up deep freeze in there. So now we don't even have to go down. Like, once we fill the roots of like the cold room up, we'll have to go down for that. But other than that, we don't need to go downstairs. And we thought, well, it was going to be super expensive to build a ranch style. So, okay, well, we'll put it in a basement. Plus, we're going to have the kids can go down there anyways. And everyone was like, that's not how that works. The kids bring everything upstairs because they don't want to be down there by themselves. And they're like, no, not my kids. They won't do that.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. Everything is upstairs.
You got 2 levels of shit everywhere.
But and downstairs, there's like a fucking tornado went through there. And I mean, God handed to Corey, so cleaned that shit all up, and within 20 minutes of being upstairs, it fucking doesn't even look like she ever went down there ever.
Yeah. Wow.
And to me, I would
see.
Like, I clean kids' toys up with a garbage bag. Like, it all goes, because it's all fucking broken anyways.
Yeah.
Like, every fucking thing is broken, right? It's, can you glue this back there?
Oh, man.
Like, don't bullshit. We got my boy. We put in his stocking like 4 fucking tubes of Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
He wrecks everything. Like, everything. I had a tractor. This is a true story. It was a metal tractor, case tractor with a loader, 2294, had a fucking plow and a disc and a wagon. And I had that prick for probably, well, I don't know when I got it. Maybe I got it when I was 5. And the loader worked and everything. One ram, I think, was broken.
Yeah.
He had it for a week. It destroyed the whole fucking thing.
He'll be a mechanic. He'll be a mechanic one day, right?
Ruined it.
It's the only way to learn how to fix stuff is take it apart.
Buddy. You gotta. Of course, that's his grandpa's, partly his grandma and grandpa's fault. That my in-laws, they buy him a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, way too much stuff.
My
so
mother
things don't
was
affect
like that too.
Like, when it breaks, he's just like, well, whatever. I'm sure Papa will give me another one. I'm sure he will. I wish he wouldn't, though.
Yeah, no doubt. My mother-in-law's like that too. Like, if there's a weekend with some like remote linkage to some type of a holiday, the kids are getting a gift. Like, we go out there for Easter, like, just get them an Easter egg, and that should be it. But no, we gotta have like a scavenger hunt with like fucking like there's probably $1,000 worth of toys strewn out throughout the fucking farmyard for all of the kids, right? And they come with bags and fucking bags of shit, and it's like, I'm just shaking my head like, oh, I gotta put this in my house somewhere. Like, where's it all gonna go, right?
That was the best part of living in the trailer, because they finally conceded that, yeah, all right, you guys are gonna be here for a while. We can't bring you a bunch of stuff.
Just bring that shit, yeah.
When they come to our, I think it was the first or second Christmas, with when my daughter was born. They actually brought 2 vehicles. I'd never seen, like, because they couldn't fit all the shit in one. And he drove his truck, and she drove her fucking whatever terrain or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just full. I mean, yeah, God love him, but I was like, holy fuck. Like, I know that wasn't the way you guys had it when you were kids. Why are you doing it to these ones?
Well, that's like Easter and Christmas always drives me up the wall, right? Because you go to the in-laws, and so you can't go out there without bags and bags of shit, because kids apparently need all this fucking stuff. They don't travel light. They certainly wouldn't be going on any quests. They need to go with a fucking shopping cart load of shit everywhere they go. And I'm thinking, like, fuck, like we're like right to the roof of my pickup, right? It's a fucking crew cab, and the box is full of shit. And I'm thinking, I still got to bring stuff home after this. Like,
You gotta bring your trailer.
yeah, like
At his
literally,
house.
literally take the fucking stock trailer to the in-laws every time we go, right? But anyway, yeah, the kids have a greater quality of life than I certainly had growing up. That's for sure.
Well, it was that big shift in like the late 80s and the early 90s when the big box stores moved in, and then things were cheap, right? I mean, you didn't go
Yeah.
down to the hardware store and there was one Tonka truck for $60. You went into Walmart and there were 600 fucking Tonka trucks for
Yeah.
$25.
Yeah, the advent of plastic. Right?
And then
That's
it
what
was just like, wow, we got to get this,
Mhm.
right? We got to get this, and we got to get this, and it's all. I mean, we did a whole live stream on like shit
junk from China.
junk from China.
Yeah.
So when that, I was talking to my friend's mom about this, and she said, like, I mean, she's still like her kids are in their late 20s, early 30s, and she still throws them like themed birthdays because for so long it fucking wasn't like that. Certainly never happened in her life. And then places like Party City fucking opened up, and you could get Transformer plates, and you could get all this shit, right? So why not? And I
yeah.
guess I kind of get it, but
Well,
not really.
Once you're 10, like,
When you're born into excess, it's not the same as being born into fucking abject poverty.
I guess, yeah, no,
So,
that's true.
Of course, and then now they came up from the absolutely have-not generation, and not just have-not, but no ability to have. Like the shit wasn't even available to get, right? And then they all got jobs, and the economy grew and expanded, and they got better jobs, and life was good. Was that on purpose, or?
Yeah. Just moistening. I'm moistening the tip here. It's getting a little hot.
Mine's covered in so much spit. It's good. What we got in here? Nobody wants a cup, eh? I don't think we got one.
Chad wants one.
I'll have to.
Chad's gonna have to get a fucking box set of cups.
I'll send Chad a whiskey glass. He's gonna win tonight.
What do you say? We went smaller. Best thing we ever did. No extra shit laying around. We built again. Then we built a house on the front of a shop. I could still live in here. Like this I could still live up here. It would just be great.
Well, fuck, I could live up here right now.
Yeah.
Like by myself.
It'd be fantastic. So when we built new, I told the wife, I'll build whatever you want, but I'm not doing any more cleaning than I already do, which is right next to nothing. Oh man. I don't do a ton of cleaning in the house. I try, much like yourself, I try to make sure that I'm not leaving a trail of destruction behind me. But I do have a rule. Like I manage the laundry because I know the wife's thing when we built the house was we're putting a laundry chute in. So we started building the house. She wasn't pregnant at the time we started building. The laundry room was going to be on the same level. Everything was going to be built for convenience. I wanted to build a ranch so that everything was on the same level. But she really wanted a basement for that. It was going to be cool. Like cool, not cool, like fun, like cool, like temperature wise, right? Oh, we could go sleep down there in the summertime, which I couldn't give a fuck about, right? But I'm a hot sleeper. I like to be warm. Doesn't matter if it's summertime or wintertime. But anyways, halfway through building the house, she finds out she's pregnant. Oh, we got to redesign the house. Suddenly the laundry room's got to go in the basement because the upstairs where the laundry room is going to be the nursery. So she needs a laundry chute. And I'm looking at that laundry chute and I'm thinking, well, there's a fucking hole in the wall that you can just throw shit and forget that it ever exists.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I need 400 pairs of underpants because they're just going to disappear into the void.
Into the abyss. Yeah.
So my rule is that I will sort all the laundry. I'll wash, I'll dry all the laundry, but I'll only put my own laundry away because once it comes out of there, it's in a basket. You can figure out where the kids' laundry. I don't know. I don't have a system for the kids' laundry. I don't have a system for her laundry when it gets put away. I have a system for my own laundry, and I can manage that really, really well. And that's my big contribution to cleaning the house. I do all the laundry, and I vacuum the porch every 2 weeks because you drag fucking cow shit and chicken shit in the house. But
I'm not even 100% sure where the vacuum is in our house.
Did you put a central vac in,
I
or
didn't.
no? We did, and I don't know. It's okay, but it's still a fucking pain in the ass dragging that stupid 25-foot hose around everywhere. Like,
well, I think much like yours, she put there's no carpet, right? So it's all sweeping anyways.
well, that's what we thought. But then we had kids, and now it's like, no, we need like a electric power mop as well because everything is fucking sticky.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they do it. Like I watched like Finley this morning. I was feeding her breakfast, and she had, what did she have? Anyways, it doesn't matter what she had, but she just looks, she's fucking squawking like she wanted more. So I'm like, okay, here's a banana, and I watched her just literally take that banana, fistful of banana. Fuck you, on the floor. She took and destroyed that whole banana, put it all over the floor. And that's the way. That's our life. That's our life. Is just like trying to step around sticky shit all the time.
You need like a shop vac, wet and dry.
Well, yeah, no,
With a
like we need
scrubbing
like
head.
like an industrial fucking like they have at the hospital with like a
Drive around on
street
it, yeah.
sweeper with the big swirling
Yeah.
things, right?
You can clean at Costco.
Yeah, literally.
I,
Well, we need like a robotic one that just does it by itself because fuck, there's not enough hours in the day to chase them 2 kids around.
One of my buddies said that too about floors. He said, at least the carpet, you don't see this shit, eh? Like the house I grew up in, they had carpet in the kitchen. The whole fucking thing.
Oh
was-
fuck! I remember the house I grew up in. I carpet in the bathroom. Like,
this-
there's nothing more disgusting than that.
But yeah, that's a bit much. But I mean, fuck. I mean, everybody's got a bunch of bath mats, anyways. But yeah, like, and I was saying, I mean, it was never like my mom kept a pretty clean house, so it was never there was nothing wrong with carpet in the kitchen. I would have put carpet through my whole upstairs too if it was my
Yeah.
choice.
Fuck, could you imagine
You vacuum-
dropping spaghetti sauce on the
Oh,
carpet?
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I'll have to ask her how tricky it was. I mean, she shampooed. She'd go down to the grocery store and rent the shampoo.
Well, that's
cleaner.
right. Yeah, you go get the IGA and you rent the
And
cleaner or whatever.
she'd do that a couple times
Yeah.
a year for sure, and I don't know, it was all right. Certainly every spring, right? The big spring clean, you can leave the windows open and dehumidify a little bit. But,
Wash the walls. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. I haven't been in very many houses that had carpet in the kitchen. Like they don't anymore. But I mean, not even like not even carpet in the living room. That kind of irritates me. But whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of wish we had carpet in the basement at least where the kids play, but we put the heated floor in the basement. So it's at least it's not cold.
Yeah,
Like
we
you go
should-
down there with the play on the kid. They play with the kids and you almost want to like somebody get this old fucker a yoga mat because it hurts my knees to be on the floor playing with the kids, right?
I was just gonna say that you're just all stiff.
So- We got these they're like gym mats or whatever, right? And I'll always like, oh, let's play over here on the gym mats because
we play
otherwise dad might not get up.
play a game where you can die or something and lay there for 45
Yeah,
minutes.
right. Like, oh, the wizard got me. I'm out. So Chad says he grew up on shag carpet. It was hit everything, and it was gold shag carpet. Oh man, that belongs in the back of a van somewhere,
Perfect.
like a '73 Dodge van.
Perfect.
Hmm.
We had that what I think they called Berber or whatever. Fuck, that shit's uncomfortable too. That's not worth it. That kind of carpet.
Berber, isn't that the stuff that's like real shallow?
Like really tightly woven.
Yeah,
It's not carpet at all. It rips your pant legs if you're crawling on your knees.
yeah, just rug burn.
It's terrible. It's terrible
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So they had, I'm not a fan of that either.
Hmm.
But we don't have any carpet upstairs. None. There's carpet in the kids' rooms downstairs, but everything
Yeah.
else is vinyl plank or whatever. And no, I don't even know if there's a fucking subfloor. This is like laying on concrete. It's brutal.
We put vinyl plank in the basement, and there's no subfloor. It's right on the concrete. It's got that cork, like what? Not even cork. It's like a rubber foam or whatever underneath, so it doesn't pound your heels. To,
I'm not even sure we got that. I'll have to ask, but it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
There's no give.
No, like,
you,
I can't walk in our house without slippers on
You
because
slip and bang your head, you're
Yeah.
gonna feel that.
you're going to the hospital.
You're gonna know there's no difference between the concrete in the furnace room and
Yeah,
the hallway. And cold. I didn't think it was gonna be that cold, but it's brutal.
yeah,
Like we're gonna have to find like individual heaters for in their rooms for the winter.
yeah. Just like a baseboard heater
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, it's just not. It's
Yeah.
not fit. You can't be at that.
Hmm.
'Cause I like yourself. I like to be warm when I sleep. Although I did open the window the other day and I apparently pissed everybody off because it was 30 degrees that night, so the house was freezing. But
Yeah, we had a few days with the 'cause we have patio doors in our bedroom, right? Patio door wide open till 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, oh fuck, it's May. It gets cold at night.
Yeah, it's,
I'm just gonna-
it's 3 degrees.
I'm gonna go close that right now. Yeah, can't sleep because you're just sitting there shivering. Right, don't want to get out of bed. You know, I'm finding this final third is hard to choke through.
It's
Actually,
beating you pretty good, eh?
yeah, it's like it was very mild off the beginning. Now it's I'm getting all the flavor now.
Well, I think I'm on my third light. I think every time you light it, I think it changes a little bit, right?
Maybe
It's
that's
harsher.
why. Yeah.
Like you didn't even do the whole thing where you blew the old smoke out.
No, I should have. Maybe that's why.
You ruined it.
I'm
Like a
just-
noob.
Yeah, rookie amateur move. Yeah, it's. Well, it said I was gonna. What is it? Sophisticated palate.
Sophisticated palate. Yeah, I was going to mention something
Yeah.
earlier, but then for my own selfish pleasure, watching you struggle through,
Watching me
I'll
just
leave it.
gag through this thing.
And when you dip
It is
into this, I
good.
thought you'd gone full.
It is good. I'm not gonna lie. It's good, but it's just a bit much in the end here.
I don't know how we made it to that. What? It's fucking 60 by 7 Texas Lancero.
Wasn't that one 70 ring gauge?
70 by, yeah.
That was a big
14.
honking freaking yeah.
I think we had 2 of those.
Quite
I don't know
the
how we
deal.
choked through those because this one is, mind you, I've been breathing nothing but smoke for 7 days. So
Well conditioned.
I suppose,
Hey,
yeah, I suppose.
yeah. The kids, it's hard on the kids right now. They're both stuffed up, and I brought Charlotte out for 15, 20 minutes today, and just the flight of the bumblebee to do chores real quick is basically run across the yard and feed hay and run out and feed the dogs and do the chickens or whatever. And we're straight back in the house, and she's just just coughing up a lung, right?
Well, I really noticed it a few days ago when I was making feed, and so I guess on Tuesday, I was just like, holy moly! Like if you had lung conditions or breathing, some health, this would be a nightmare. This would be an actual nightmare.
It'd be brutal, yeah.
Because I consider myself fairly physically fit and healthy, but it got me like even in the eyes and headache and shit.
Well, my buddy Curtis, he's got his daughter has cystic fibrosis, I think. It is.
Oh boy, that's terrible.
So that's a terrible thing to begin with, and then to come into a situation like this, like they basically just lock her in the house, and they got all the air purifiers just going 24/7
That's terrible.
just to try and survive, right? And if he's on stopped in, didn't really need the cigars tonight. Just take a step outside and have a deep breath. And we joked at the beginning that this is probably the least amount of smoke that we inhaled this week, actually. So
Yeah.
probably the freshest air we've breathed all week. So
Yeah, it didn't change the shop. Like normally you come in and it's a different air than when you leave once you've smoked a cigar for 2 hours. But
yeah, usually
It was-
like the next morning I come in and it's like,
it was already
oh,
there.
there was like a dumpster fire in here or something. But
When I walked in, I was just like, I wonder if Stan's already smoking a cigar.
I had the door open for like 5 minutes today because I loaded up the generator, and that was it. Right, that's the only time the door's been open. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. What have we had for time there? 2 hours and 18
Holy
minutes.
smokes, already 2
It's
hours.
gone by quick. Yeah. So that's a pretty good cigar. 2.5 hours out of that baby.
Yeah, they are. Those size, right? Those
That's kind of the magic size,
Yeah.
That 6-inch 50 ring gauge. The Toro, I guess, is what the Vitola would be.
there's usually a good hour and a half smoke time in there, depending on how much talking you're doing or not.
Yeah, I'm really, really digging that that punch cut though, the bullet punch cut.
Yeah, it is.
Keeps-
We've done that on the
keeps-
last 3.
Keeps all the nonsense out of your mouth.
Mhm.
It stops the wrapper from coming unfurled. Your wrapper stay intact?
No, it came, but that was my own fault.
Oh yeah, a lot of pressure.
Well, yeah, I
You're a
was-
squeezer.
goofing around with it earlier, and then
Oh.
that went south in a hurry.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm getting almost like a like a floral flavor now. It's not even not coffee or leather or wood or anything like that. It's more like if you burned like cherry blossoms or something almost. It's weird.
I certainly am not. Right there, right near the end, I'm getting burnt lips and
Burnt
pepper.
lips,
Always,
pepper,
That's
and
always how it ends.
fingernail cuttings, and
Just
Hmm.
like facial sweating. But yeah, there was. Well, hopefully we get the rain this weekend. They're calling for some rain.
I can't wait. I hate the rain. Like that's one. That was a big reason why. It's a stupid reason why, but it's one of the big reasons why I left England. I was like, I fucking hate the rain. It rains there all the goddamn time. So miserable. You're damp. You're always cold. Fuck it. I'm going to Canada because they have a dry cold. Now I'm just like, oh god, bring on the rain. Like,
Just a good.
yeah, just
soak
give
rain.
me 2 inches. Give it to me for a week. You know, a slow drizzle for a week.
But that's one thing we haven't seen basically in 3 years was like a
A good
weekend
soak
rain.
in rain. Yeah, where it just sets in.
I
Haven't
mean,
had
yeah,
that.
I mean, I'm not into flash flooding. I'm not into like torrential downpours, but just this nice.
No, but I remember I think it was 2018 down in our big pie-shaped paddock there. We had the donkey down there, and like right to his nutsack in the water. And then to now where it's like it might not even rain on that field this year. I don't know. Unheard of. Like, and there's not a drop of water that's flowing through the creek anymore. Just dried right up.
Well, that's one weird thing that surprised me when we took our little drive there today. That like that Steep Rock and the Beavertail creeks out by our place, they're both quite high. They're not flowing, but they're high.
Well, some folks have said that about the rivers. Yeah, no,
It's
where's it coming from?
So I don't know if it's just so dammed, like beaver dams downstream.
Maybe, yeah.
Because like I say, it's really not flowing, but it's high, and it doesn't actually seem to be all that stagnant either. So it must be trickling through enough to keep it relatively clean.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Maybe they had snow in the mountains or something.
Well, if they're getting
Things
this
coming
heat
down,
and there is snow, it's obviously melting, right? So
Yeah.
it's and that does come down. Usually in June we'll end up getting a flood or something once they start getting rains in the mountains.
Yeah.
But for it to be, kind of the ice thing, the ice broke up and the rivers were open and then they went down and then they came back up and it didn't rain here.
Yeah.
So where it came from, is beyond me. But
It's kind of a mystery. Chad's going to finish seeding tomorrow, he hopes. Held off on the last 100 acres because we're under seeding hay with the barley. Found grasshoppers yesterday in patches.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, that'll be real handy.
That's all everybody needs around here now is
The
grasshoppers.
dry year, no rain and
Nip off
grasshoppers.
all the buds and call her good.
Yeah.
Another year of no hay.
Yeah.
Well, I was asking a few people because I don't really know the science, and I talked about it a little bit before this, but like what happens to the plants under 2 weeks of smoke? Like if we don't get the rain, do they? Because I know that smoke we had 5 years ago, that was in August already. That really affected the crop.
That definitely knocked everything back.
But
Yeah.
whatever happened to the plant,
Yeah.
if it just went to seed too quick or didn't finish properly, but we had green canola, we had unhealthy looking cereals, smaller seeds, thinner seeds.
We noticed with the grass, like it came up that far, flowered early, and then just never grew up. Right? That was kind of just really stunted, right?
Which will be like super devastating to like the pastures, right? Everybody's pastures have been overgrazed for the last 2 years, and they're getting no time, and they're getting nothing.
There's no recovery time for it, right? Because it's just under duress the whole time.
So I know people that were like, well, we're not kicking them out till June, not till June. So they're still feeding. They're going to feed hay right up until June if they have it, to try to give this stuff a little bit of time, because the ones that are out there, there's a shooter grass, and it's amazing. The animals are amazing. They just see that for fucking 2 miles. They will eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go.
That's where we're keeping everything behind the barn. By and large, you should have everything out in the field by now, but I don't dare.
You can't.
If I put them out there now without any rain on that grass, they will ruin that. They will ruin that pasture for the rest of the year. Yeah. At least get it up enough that it can absorb some sunlight. So hopefully when the rain hits it can come. But I don't even an inch of rain right now. I don't think is going to be enough to really.
No, especially not if it comes like it has, where it's just like it rains and it's done within 2 hours. That's
Yeah,
not gonna,
yeah.
it's
No,
just
it needs
the
to
ground
be
is so hard.
over time, right? Yeah, because it won't soak anything up, right? Yeah, yeah. It needs to be that slow soaking rain over multiple days.
Even the one field I seeded was just kind of silly, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to seed it because it's on a west slope, and I was like, I'm going to seed it north and south so I can make the little ridges.
Sure. Yeah.
So if it does rain, maybe this
Yeah,
shit won't
soak
just
it up
run
a
right
little
to
bit.
the creek,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, make like terraces almost. Right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it was. I was glad we didn't work a whole bunch of stuff because it would have just been nothing left.
Yeah.
So.
Chad says you started rotating cows, not going to let the grasshoppers get it, but we left ours in good shape last year. We're moving fast, keep the grass young and vegetative, don't want it to go to seed. Yeah, I agree. If you can do it, and you got the time to dedicate to rotating, that's a real struggle we have working off farm is we don't have the time to move constantly. You know, we can move once a week with the cows once they're here, but I can't move every day. I can't move every 2 days.
No, and that's the thing when it goes bad and you have to start paying attention. Yeah, it's basically a daily observation and it requires a really good system.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of electric fence, and I don't know how some guys do it with water. Of course, we just kind of solved the water issue with the sheep, but with the cows, they're obviously going to need significantly more water than the sheep, right? But we did get there was a government grant, federal grant for solar waterers, so you can keep the cows out of your dugouts. I'm gonna try that, but I don't know how far it'll pump. You can keep them in some of the further paddocks and pump across country, I guess, a little bit of water line, but yeah, it was like a $15,000 setup, but you only had to pay 10% of the cost for the equipment.
Okay.
Yeah, so that should help a little bit. I think I could probably go a little bit longer, but it's definitely getting hot in the fingers there. And yeah, that's a full burn, definitely full, like a lot of smoke. So what's next on the farm? You're not one of those 2 and 2 guys, right? You're not a 2 weeks of seed and 2 weeks of harvest. There's lots of bags to make, I'm sure, right?
I did get caught up on that. I went pretty hard the last couple of days, but of course, spraying is going to start right away, right? We do a little bit of custom spraying, so this is going to be fescue spray. We don't have it. But
you got to roll right away too, or
we don't do that.
You don't do that.
No.
What's the theory there?
Oh, beat the rocks down.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Pretty much, right? So, of course, with these precision drills, they really don't want you to do that either, right? Because I mean, the idea is you've put the seed at the right spot. So if you go roll the dirt over top of it and make it flat again, it's not going to be at the right spot.
Doesn't contribute to soil compaction.
Of course, I mean, lots of people do. They do rolls, like when you're growing things like peas or chickpeas or lentils or whatever, something that grows low to the ground, that generally gets rolled. Lots of people do roll their cereals. We just, I don't know, we don't. When we had our FlexiCoil drill, it had 4-inch packers that rolled behind it. It was effectively rolling right behind you.
Sure.
So there was that. This drill definitely leaves it rough and bigger ridges with 12-inch spacing, but I don't know. I just don't really see the point at this point.
Back home, we used to roll the silage fields, right? So you'd get 4 inches of growth, and then you'd roll the field. And the theory there was that folding over the grass would then almost cause a little bit of distress, and then the grass would strengthen itself and then rebounce up more. But yeah, I was always curious about that with cereal crops as to what the benefit was. But
I think most of the time it's not up here to push the rocks back down.
Yeah,
And then of course, when
Yeah, that's a big difference. Like, you go to England. There's no rocks.
yeah, they're all in a they're all in a fence
That
somewhere along, or in a road.
yeah, they've picked everything over the last 10,000 years. Is you know,
Here we
it's
got rocks
obviously
to pick here.
bit of an older country. Yeah,
That
that's
that might be a day in itself with the old loader. Is go get a few nuggets that I found seeding. That's always something that gets.
you don't got a rock picker.
We do, but I mean, you don't really want to drive that around what you've seeded now, right? Because it's got that rotary thing.
Oh,
and
it'd
you end up
be
digging up a lot
chewing
of
stuff
dirt
up,
anyways, so
Yeah,
that's kind of the job that has to happen either in the fall once the crop is off and once you've worked it or whatever. The fall would be the ideal time because you can see where the header lifted up, right?
yeah,
You can just go there. I don't know why it lift up. There's a rock there, but
Yeah.
it's always a time thing, right? I mean,
does
if
that
you
header
don't
know that? Is it smart? Does it see a rock and pick up, or
No, not
Or
ours.
just-
Probably new ones do.
or the
but
farmer
ours-
the farmer sees the rock? and
No,
picks up?
no. The farmer sees the rock, is too slow to adjust. The header hits it and lifts itself up,
Oh,
causing
it just
some-
bounces over.
generally some damage, and then you go on with your life.
Yeah,
Well, there's what are they called? Hydraulic. What do you call those things? Compensators or whatever that.
cushion it. Yeah,
So they
Hmm.
they're very easy to lift, right?
yeah.
So they just kind of lift themselves up and over it.
Oh, I thought with all your bells and whistles, I've seen that screen on your thing there with all the different things
Oh.
you can put into that. Oh man, I wonder if they have like little sensors in the header or something that would just
Oh, the new ones do.
pick everything up out of. Oh, there's a rock. Get out of the way.
No, the new ones do.
Hmm.
Of course, all that shit fails too instantly. So,
Yeah,
but
you get all the beeps and whistles out of your tractor figured out, or what?
I got most everything was working. I still have a hydraulic issue that is not solved. Of course, the part came
With
in,
the drill.
the part came in the day after I finished seeding.
That's handy. Well, at least you'll be good for next season.
Well, if that was it.
If,
I don't know if that
it
was it.
yeah.
So what I got to do now is I got to put the part in and then effectively pull the drill out and run the auger full,
Yeah.
basically one truck to the other, just to see if that's what it was.
Huh.
If it's not, Jesus, I don't know. Got a lot of time though to diagnose.
Yeah. It won't be a cheap experiment though if it doesn't work. Eh?
Well, I'm at a loss if that's not it. That's the only way it can be.
Hmm.
Aside from that, it would be a hose somewhere that's collapsed inside and was restricting flow. But you'd think if a hose failed, it would blow up.
You'd think it would just blow.
or at least swell up or bulge or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Might have to get the tech out, which I don't like doing.
Yeah. That generally
always-
eats your lunch right
There's
away,
always
right?
bucks involved there, and
Yeah.
you know, they start diagnosing just like you would.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, they sometimes they have a little bit more of an idea. Maybe they've seen it before.
There's a
but,
common problem, maybe.
um,
Yeah.
I was talking to actually Jeremy about it, one of the guys that watches here, and he was telling me a story about his job off farm, and he said like, yeah, it's amazing. You phone for help on something. You phone the dealership or their engineer or whatever, and they always act like they've never even heard of this problem before.
Yeah.
But then once you figure it out, you're like, okay, I need this part. Like, oh yeah, we got 30 on the
We
shelf.
got a
sell
whole
lots
bunch of
this.
them on this. Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, well, tell me that off the start.
Right.
Right? They just don't seem to be willing.
You just charge me $100 fucking shop time.
And that's one thing. Like lots of guys have, that I've talked to on YouTube, on other farming channels and stuff. That everybody agrees that that's a great part of social media, YouTube, and stuff like that. When you watch other people,
Yeah.
you can generally, you can ask them questions. Maybe they've seen it before. Maybe their neighbor
That's right.
has, and they're actually willing to tell you.
Yeah.
You phone the service manager and like, oh fuck, man, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah. Bring
And
it in.
then-
Bring it in.
Then you
Yeah.
find out, no, in fact, it's happened to 18 people in this community.
Yeah. Yeah. When they've got surplus sitting on the shelf, they've seen it before.
But
Yeah.
and then now in the world of waiting for everything, like this block, fucking you gotta wait a week. Well, sometimes you don't like it, when your
Well,
window is 2 weeks.
don't
and
have
you're
a week.
into it.
Yeah.
You only gotta wait a week.
Yeah.
Well, do you still want it? Well, yeah, of course I want it. If you're fucking not gonna have it, I'll
Yeah.
put it on my shelf. Like
Yeah,
I'll
that's
carry
right.
the
I'll
inventory.
carry it. Yeah. I'll carry it now at
So-
this year's price and not at next year's price.
Well, that's it too, right? And then they quit making shit. I couldn't believe how much stuff's like unavailable. Or you got to get it to an aftermarket thing.
Oh,
Well,
really?
that's scary. Like you have a tractor that's 2006. I mean, that's already old, right? It's
Yeah,
fucking
it's-
near 20 years old.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's
hey?
old. If we don't make parts for that anymore,
They only got to make parts for 10 years, don't they?
something like that.
Something, yeah. That's a sin, too. Make a piece of equipment that's supposed to last 30 years, but we'll only... There's no right to repair on lots of that stuff, right?
Well, that's another thing is back to that consumer protection or at least some regulation. Like one guy commented on one of my TikTok videos. He said, like, if one of these manufacturers would make an old style tractor again, man, they'd be in the chips. Because lots of people will admit that the technology is cool. But that's basically where we end. It's neat. It's cool.
Yeah. It's
because
convenient.
mostly it doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work, it's no longer even remotely enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's just a headache that you don't need.
You're just sitting there and there's a fucking beeper every time you sit up in your seat.
Oh, and one of my things about the GPS, like most people, now I could see, if you're heavy, intense row cropping or if you're a government farm or whatever, you would need this information or you would want it. Most farmers just want to drive a straight fucking line, north, south, east, or west. And if you can put in the odd degree, maybe we work our fields at an angle sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't want to enter 45 fucking pages of information about weather conditions and what crop and what. Nobody cares.
You're not doing research.
I just want to go back and forth.
Yeah.
So why even put all the provision in the software to be polluted, corrupted, whatever you want to call it, and then all of a sudden you fire it up and it takes 20 minutes to boot up because it's trying to load all this extra shit, and then it fails and then it doesn't work, and that has to work even to drive the
just to move it forward. Yeah.
Like, well, all right, well that's great, because the one thing it said it popped up this year is that you can't change fields unless you start a new task, and I was thinking, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So they had to go in there because I don't operate that tractor very much and figure out what even a task is. And then you got to figure out how to customize the screen because that's actually an important thing. You have to reset every time so it doesn't fill up or whatever because it starts to count as soon as you start a new one. And when it gets to a certain space, it fucking starts over.
Ridiculous, eh?
And I don't even know how to get the information off there even if I wanted to.
No.
And I don't want to. I don't even want the information.
No, not in there with your laptop. Fucking
if somebody
making
came
spreadsheets
out with a tractor with just like a radio, fucking simple light switch panel, doesn't have to dim and flash, and a couple of hydraulics, and a little bit to adjust the flow, and then
tell me when the prick's overheating.
Good enough.
That's all you need to do.
All that other stuff. Holy shit! Like, it's cool. It is cool. I'll be the first to admit it. It's very neat.
Yeah.
But when it doesn't even. And then they throw the warranty on there. Oh, you're going to get a year's warranty with this. Okay, I put 110 hours a year on the fucking thing.
Yeah.
I won't need warranty for 10 years.
Right.
By then, it's 9 years expired.
Yeah.
Before anything starts to fail.
Yeah.
So it's very, very frustrating.
Chad says, I was told yesterday my new tractor won't be until August. Guess they're going to get me a loaner for haying. It was supposed to be in April. A little frustrating. Yeah, that'd be brutal if you're waiting on equipment, like time sensitive, and they're just fucking you around. And if he said Big Bud is building it, you heard of them? Big Bud?
Big Bud, yeah, they got great tractors.
They're building again the super simple tractor, starting again due to that right to repair movement. I didn't really kind of hear much about that right to repair movement until I started watching that Edison Motors on TikTok, because he's building trucks right, with parts that you can actually just get off the shelf, right? He was talking about that one transmission. I think it was an Allison transmission or was it an Eaton? I think it was Allison. But like you can't repair that transmission. You just take that transmission, they throw it right in the fucking garbage, and you got to get a whole new one. Well, like it's like $40,000 for something like that to get the machine to diagnose the fucking tractor, the transmission, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's cheaper to just throw the transmission in the garbage.
Well, I've heard this so many times. I coined my new little phrase that I tell the partsmen. So when I ordered this block, I seen it was leaking. And all this thing does is you have one set of hydraulics running to the tank, and it runs the whole entire tank. Our tank has variable rate meters, so it drops the seed. That's hydraulics. Yeah. The fan is hydraulics, and the auger is hydraulics. But you only need the auger when you're filling. So
Yep.
there's valve switches from fan to auger, or in the middle to do the calibration.
Yep.
And when it's on fan, it's the hydraulics are always going through the meters. So, anyways, that's why I'm thinking it has to be something failed inside that block, and it was leaking externally, dripping
Oh,
oil.
okay. Yeah.
So I phoned him. I said, there must be a rebuild kit for this thing, right? There's just seals in there.
Yep.
Nope. There's no rebuild kit. There's no diagram for what's in there. You just buy a new one. And I was like, well, that's ridiculous. I said, like, there has to be. Oh no, there's no way to rebuild it. And I was like, man, this fucking thing wasn't found in nature. It's not like New Holland has a mine somewhere and they mine until they find a block, and then they're like, fuck, we can build another cart.
Like they just come, like they just
Like
find them on the moon somewhere.
Someone did build this originally.
Yeah.
Like it can be
Somebody assembled it.
fixed.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you take it to like a hydraulic place or something. And I was going to do that, and had it failed completely, would have probably been a better situation, because then I would have taken it off, I would have taken it in the shop, I would have taken it apart, and I would have seen that, yeah, this one O-ring broke apart and it got in that little port and it stopped the flow. So I peel that out, buy a new O-ring, put it back together. But I don't know what's in the fucking thing. And it was working enough that I could keep seeding. So I thought, okay, when I get the new one, I'll put the new one in, and then I'll take the old one apart, rebuild it, and I'll have it on the shelf.
Yeah.
That is still my plan.
That's the plan.
But yeah, it was
and
no
it
reason
cracks
to just
that
sort
open. It's going to be full of witchcraft and alien technology.
Well, that's just it, right? I mean, if they say it can't be rebuilt, I'm thinking, okay,
Yeah.
the minute I pop this snap ring, there's going to be 40 billion little springs and O-rings and all sorts of trinkets and shit I've never seen or heard of, and
full of microchips.
right stuff that Elon Musk brought back from Mars.
There's a Huawei cell phone inside there.
Like, just what sort of fucking sorcery went into this?
Fucking Chinese spyware inside your hydraulic bank.
But it can't be that complicated inside. So,
well, no, the technology behind it is not new or advanced in any way, shape, or form. They've just engineered it.
but that whole fucking throw it in the garbage.
They've just engineered it to fail, right?
What a waste! Like, what a fucking waste.
Yeah.
And when I like, just because I was talking to Jeremy about it, I was like, how many of these tanks are even in the Peace Country alone? Like, there must be hundreds across the prairies.
For sure.
I mean,
probably thousands.
There's John Deere tanks, and there's Burgo tanks, and there's Flexi. But the thing is, lots of the Flexi-Coil tanks and the Case tanks and New Holland tanks are all the same.
They're the same, different color
Right?
paint.
Like, I think New Holland bought Flexi-Coil, so they just took that technology, and the New Holland tank is a Flexi-Coil tank.
Yeah.
And because it's Case New Holland, all the Case tanks that are like that are the fucking same.
Yeah.
So this block exists on three brands of tanks, ranging anywhere from tanks that are fucking 15-year-olds to even
Sure.
now probably not on the new tanks, but I think ours is about a 2008, and there's probably, I don't know when they quit making that model of tank, but there's lots of them is my point, and they're like, to fucking not even have them and then not have rebuild kits or even the knowledge of what's inside.
Yeah.
Like fuck, Jesus, who knows? Because I was originally too, I was going to just unhook the block and put my own valve in there, but because it runs those fucking meters,
It's kind of mission
there's some
critical.
sorcery in there too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's got some restrictors in there, because I'm sure they don't need the full flow.
Yeah, it's probably an orifice in there.
So then what you get is, you end up wrecking everything by trying to put this back together in a rush. But anyway, the new one's there. So what I'm waiting for is the rain. Then I can get some things washed up and out of the way. And then I'll bring my drill around, wash it, put the block on.
Yeah.
And then I'll give it a try.
Give it the old test fire.
And then if it doesn't work, I'll be super disappointed, confused, mad.
Maybe then we'll get to see you chuck a wrench across the fucking yard.
Throw a wrench.
Yeah.
But all in all, it was actually a pretty soft year for repairs.
Yeah.
It's just everything is $1,000, right? Everything.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
So you do that 5 times plus one call out, you're all of a sudden $6,000-7,000.
Yeah. So then they got a haul load of grain to town. Pay for parts.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
But such is life. You
Such
don't take it
is
all to
life.
the bank.
No, that's right.
So
Everybody needs a piece.
yeah, they do.
Parts guys got to eat too.
He's got to eat too. They got to build their new fucking store that's 10,000 million square feet and we don't have a fucking part in it. The fitting is the one that confuses the shit out of me. Like we have that telehandler that's a cap.
Yeah.
So I needed a fan belt. And I mean that's just a generator
That's
motor in there.
not a
So,
complex
I
fucking part.
get on the internet, Fitting Grand Prairie, call the number, get a hold of somebody and fuck Kamloops, because that's Fittings fucking outsourced all that.
Yeah.
All right, need a fan belt. Oh, it'd be 5 days. There's one in, I think it come out of fucking Oregon or something. Like the Fitting in Grand Prairie, the thing's like 1 million fucking square feet and tall. Like the pallet racking in there must be.
Yeah. What are you
Like
what are you
fucking-
keeping in there?
Well, if I ever end up in there picking apart, I'm actually going to ask for a tour because there must be just nothing in there. There's nothing
I'm sure.
because they've never had anything.
I'm sure if you said, "Hey, like I'll put on a reflective vest and a hard hat. Like I just love a tour. Can I do this for my YouTube channel?"
Well, I
bet you they'd be happy to give you a tour.
I needed a seal, and I thought like this seal would fit probably more than a telehandler because it's the same style I think on loaders and things. Fuck, they didn't have one either.
You know, that's probably just a giant empty fucking warehouse where they just have like a go-kart track they rip around on forklifts in,
It has to be something.
or a fucking shooting range or a bowling alley or something in the back there. Like,
Well, I was talking to one of the Hutterite guys when I was getting a load of fertilizer, and I asked him. I said, like a lot of your colonies in Saskatchewan and even Southern Alberta, they run a lot of New Holland stuff. I said, why do you guys all run John Deere stuff? And he said, it's strictly because they can get the parts.
they can get the parts. Yeah.
Nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
New Holland doesn't, Case doesn't, nobody else does it. He said the parts are expensive,
Sure.
but at least they're
They're
there.
available.
And when you're in the peace country and you're so time limited,
wow, fuck.
you have to
Downtime will make you break you, right?
When it confused me when I worked in the States. Those guys didn't even have grain bins. I said, well, what do you do? He said, oh, if the elevator's full, we just wait.
Yeah.
Fucking wait.
Yeah, you're not waiting
You got
here.
like 3 months to combine.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. If it rains for a week.
You
we
get
just
10
wait.
days here.
And here, yeah, you got like 10 combining days and then like a 30-day window.
Yeah.
After that, it snows on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, in that 10 days, you're most likely going to see hail and rain and snow and wind and frost. And
Yeah. You'll
Whatever.
get all the seasons all.
so
Hmm.
you just don't have that time. But yeah, like you said, he agreed too. Some of the technology and stuff and some of the machines is probably better than John Deere. But John Deere has made that investment. They got like 70 service trucks. They got tremendous support.
Wow.
They got their huge warehouse, I think, is in Edmonton.
Yeah.
So most everything is like a day away at least.
Sure.
Where everything from New Holland comes out of Regina, which is
Yeah.
only a little further, but it's always
5 days to get it here.
right. They're always big. Well, we can be on a stock order and we can get it next week, or you can pay the shipping. I always just pay the shipping because, like I told them, I don't, especially when I don't have a tech telling me, and even if you do, they don't always get it right either.
No, that's right.
So if you don't get it and you don't pay the shipping to have it there in the morning, then you wait 5 days and you find out that wasn't even the part.
It wasn't the piece.
Now you're 10 days out.
Now you're really behind. Yeah.
So
Now you lost your window. Now you're buying fucking $6,000 worth of propane.
it's brutal. But
So,
there's not a bunch of care on that side. Some of the parts people are a little bit sympathetic, but what can they do, right? They're not in charge of
yeah, they're only
stocking
as good
inventory,
as the system that they're working with, right?
so they don't have.
Hmm.
all
But
the
that's, I
answers.
mean, we talked about that before too. There's a lot of parts guys that they'll just look on their computer and they'll be like, nope, can't get it. And they don't, good parts guys is going to have, maybe 10 or 12 different outlets that they'll go look for. I've definitely found the last year, not that I buy a ton of parts, certainly not as many parts as you, but when you go to look for parts, they're just like, click their computer, they go to their one source. No, don't got it. And it's like, I can go fuck myself, I guess. Right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Just burn the fucking thing.
yeah, I guess that's what I do now. Okay, well, can you get me a fucking tow truck and I just haul it to the fucking scrapyard now? I guess that's what we're gonna do.
So it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
But and yeah, the lack of give a fuck is just like astonishing. It's just like, oh, you're just here till 5, eh?
Yep.
That's
Oh, yeah.
that.
That's
There's
that.
No,
No ownership, no pride.
that's why I always look it up first. Like, I mean, they do have really good
Yeah.
resources online. You bring up your model number, they have the parts listed that somebody's taken the time to upload it. So I go through and I find exactly what I want, and then I get the part number, and then I call and I give them the part number. and then I get them to repeat back to me what it is, so I don't end up with a fucking water pump when I'm looking for a bearing.
Yeah.
And then we go from there.
Yeah.
And then we go down the road of, well, it's going to be $900, and say, no, I just was on Amazon. It's $48 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, we can get you a knockoff one for $250. Okay, we'll do that then. Crazy.
Crazy.
But that's the world we're living in.
Yeah, isn't that something?
My little boy there, he got pretty confident on his little go-kart the other day. And he hit a rut, lost control, and then crashed into the Kenworth. So he broke there's at the bottom of, like your lawnmower, like at the bottom of the steering wheel, there's that gear.
Yep.
So anyways, that, of course, on the go-kart was made of plastic, so it fucking exploded that plastic thing. So we get on the internet and we look for the part and we find the part. It's fucking 8 days away. And he said, buddy, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
This is your life.
Yeah.
You will always be waiting for everything.
Yeah.
So you may as well start now.
Sure.
So it came in yesterday and we put it in, and he sunk in a little bit.
Yeah.
Be a little more cautious, a little more careful, a little more gentle, because most likely what you need is not fucking even in Alberta.
Yeah.
Probably not even in Canada.
Well, I waited 2 months to get a fucking battery for Charlotte's fucking side-by-side. 2 fucking months. I was ready to wire that thing to a car battery. So just couldn't get one. So they phoned at Battery World. I was going to buy one off Amazon because it was $57. But then when I went and talked to them at Battery World, they were like, "Oh no, we can get it for $57. You don't have to pay shipping. You might just have to wait to come in, right? 2 months fucking to get this." But I said, like, why? Oh, there's such a high demand because the warm spring, like everybody wants these batteries now. I'm like, it's a fucking battery. Like it's not like I don't know. It's not like a complex part. They can make them every day, but
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Yeah. Yeah, she's lucky she didn't end up with a full-size tractor battery in the back of that fucking side-by-side.
I figured you'd wire
Set of booster
DeWalt
cables.
battery. That's what lots of those YouTubers
Lots of folks
do,
are doing, yeah, but I guess that little extra spice in there might be. She rips it. She's zero fucks. It's a straight fuck second gear, just down, doesn't care. She got her sister in there. We got no seat belts in that thing, right? So we just literally will tarp strap the baby in. They have the time of their life. Like they have a good time in that thing. But some days I worry. I'm like, who's gonna get thrown out of this thing?
It's a good thing it's not too far to the ground, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You got to get a few war wounds in. Yeah. Yeah. I might actually have to load that thing up in the morning. Take that camping. That's the other thing. Yeah. I'll take the side-by-side, kids side-by-side camping with me. Because I just need more shit to fucking pack out there.
You should have more misery into your day.
Yeah.
Because then the battery will be dead in 5 fucking minutes and everybody will be mad. You'll be charging it.
Yeah. That'll be just perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that was the whole thing around it. Like, I mean, we've been involved in purchasing a few of those, and we know quite a few people that have them. And then we were going to get one from a little guy, because I mean, if you got the space, why not, right?
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, and I was like, yeah, fuck it. You know what? They're always dead. Always fucking dead. We'll just get him a gas-powered one. So he's a little small for it, but we put some 2x4s on the pedals so he could reach.
Yeah, help him out. Yeah.
And then seatbelts are a little loose, but we got them sort of tied in.
Well, we're looking for a little gas-powered buggy here, but
when he went into the steering wheel after hitting the Kenworth there, he was fucking...
That'd be a wake-up call for him.
Yeah, he slowed down after that.
Yeah. Kenworth's not very forgiving. Oh, man.
Pretty funny, though.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He's pretty good on it, though. And yeah, he's learning to drive. Like, he's because it doesn't have reverse, eh? So
he's got to be smart with it, yeah.
You don't go nosing up to nothing.
Yeah.
So
you're going to have to get real tough if you are going to nose up, drag that front end around.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
Yeah.
He's only got forward and a pretty wide turning radius on it too, right? So
yeah,
he does pretty good. He was mowing the grass the other day. Buddy come through, pick up his bags, and he was laughing. He said, "Jesus fuck!" He said, "I got kids that are 20 years old that won't mow the grass." Buddy, 5 years old on his lawnmower,
having the time of his life.
Giving her.
Yeah.
run over the garden hose, and that was that till we stopped.
Oh, that would stop you in a hurry.
Yeah, I heard a bang. Didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
I just stopped. Well, good job.
Oh man. A garden hose will fuck up your lawnmower right now.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Just get your pocket knife out, cut the hose, and drive straight to the shop. Yeah.
What a guy.
Especially that Costco garden hose. Holy man. There must be some Kevlar or some shit in that.
Well, this was old green one, so we fared out pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I think, yeah. What a guy. Not the straightest driver, but
Well, by the time he's 16,
hopefully
he'll be well prepared.
won't be driver's ed.
Yeah.
Just know how to crash into shit.
Yeah.
Wait on parts.
Waiting on parts. Yeah. Story of his life, eh?
It's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
That's funny. What did we miss there? And if he's got to do the same thing, all the research is done before I pick up the phone because you can be on the phone for hours just trying to explain the simplest things. Yeah, oftentimes the guy behind the desk just has
Nothing.
no. They don't have the experience or the exposure, right?
Well, it's nothing against them. They come right out of college. Like I asked somebody, like, how the fuck did parts person become a trade?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you learning?
Yeah, you're literally
for 4 years.
You're literally Googling stuff, pretty much, right?
You know, I mean, I would like to know what's in the course. It must be like inventory and shit. And then fucking
Probably, yeah.
Like, I just don't understand, because when you leave parts school, you can literally end up anywhere in agriculture or instrumentation or fucking somewhere in the oil field or selling fucking lawnmowers, like literally anything. So when you phone them and you're like, yeah, I need a fucking cylinder belt for my combine, and you're like, oh yeah, I've been in part for 20 years of selling fucking valves in the oil field.
Yeah.
The fuck good are you?
What are you? Yeah.
Like, you don't even know what the fuck a combine is.
You can run a search engine. That's it.
I don't understand how that got to be a trade where you could actually be a Red Seal parts person. Like, I'm crazy.
Yeah, that's wild, eh? Yeah.
Bonkers. I'm gonna have to, my brother went to trade school. I'm gonna ask him what they fucking learned there. They went to parts school.
I should become a Red Seal safety guy.
Red Seal. Red Seal. Well, you get it though. I mean, I could see becoming a fucking Red Seal electrician, knowing codes and wires and different ends and shit. Being a Red Seal plumber or a fucking roofer or something, like a construction. But to be a fucking Red Seal parts person, well, you know how to fucking turn on the computer and run fucking Windows 98.
Pretty much.
Right? I mean,
flip through a catalog.
I'd be the best parts person ever in agriculture. They fucking know how to use their system.
Yeah.
And you know what shit is.
You know what it is. That's the thing. That's the biggest thing, right?
But I had my eyes on a few years ago. I needed a blockage monitor. And then the guy was just like, well, is that like on the drill or like on the tank? And I was just like, holy fuck, I give up. This is going nowhere. Like, nowhere. You don't have a clue what you're fucking even looking for.
No.
So
it's like a game of charades, right?
We're gonna have to
over the phone.
Stop here before I get mad.
Yeah.
And I'll figure it out myself. Bring one with me.
Yeah. This is it's like the Rosetta Stone you're fucking bringing in for.
Well, Google even has that now. I needed it was in that engine block heater. There's a little thermostat-y fucking thing in there. And I didn't even realize it was a function, but if you click the camera function on Google and take a picture of it, it just brings it up.
Yeah.
Searches the website for you for pictures that look like that.
That's right.
I mean, I got one, didn't fucking work, but it was interesting.
Better start than fucking.
So that's, I mean, anyone can be a parts person.
Yeah.
Bring me your broken part, take a picture of it. Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Easy peasy. Yeah.
Why not, right? It comes up with part number and everything.
No doubt.
So, but no, it's still from what I understand, it's still a trade. Dumb.
What a time to be alive.
Dumb. 4 years. So you talk about a waste of fucking education.
4 years. What's the fucking number one question they probably have? Is it 4-wheel drive?
What color's your cab?
Yeah, I always laugh about that. I need some windshield wipers. What makes the vehicle for? It doesn't fucking matter. I need 20-inch windshield wiper blades.
Is
it 4-wheel drive? Who fucking cares?
There was that funny meme of a car in the ditch on fucking fire or whatever, and it was like this guy installed headlights for a fucking 2-wheel drive and his 4-wheel drive or whatever.
Oh yeah, that would do it. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I've said that to so many times. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're all the same.
Yeah. I'm not trying to buy a fucking transfer case here.
And then the one time they're like, oh, okay, well, come pick it up, and you get it, and you realize it's not. You're like, oh fuck.
And I remember
They changed that, didn't they?
2 years ago, I went to fucking Napa in Beaver Lodge, and I just asked them for a 2-inch NPT fuel cap. Like almost every fucking semi in the world has a 2-inch NPT fuel cap. One of the most common parts you can find, right? Completely confounded. Like, and it took them 3 weeks to get that part in. It's just like, are you kidding me? I literally went to the hardware store and I put a 2-inch collar and a 2-inch bull plug, and that was a fuel cap on the fucking truck till I got the part in. Like, this is ridiculous. So ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the level of frustration going forward. It's going to be, it's going to be something else. Unmeasurable.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
that's
just-
right.
You're either going to get calm enough to deal with it, or you have to get out of whatever business you're in and do something different. Like my dad's been saying it quite a bit too. He's like this, like, because he's watching, right? Kind of, from a close distance. He said, "Fuck yeah!" He said, "Never before have we encountered this." Like, he said, the problem we always had was not having the money to buy the fucking part. Right? That was the struggle. Now, like, he said, never before could you have money and go to town and like, we don't have it, and we can't get it.
You just can't get it. Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
the apathy,
right?
like the apathy in the service industry is what's going to cause the whole thing to collapse, right? Because there's nobody like tries to go above and beyond, try and get you back in the field or whatever,
No.
help you out. If you're fucking out of luck, you're out of luck. Then they don't give a fuck about it.
No, zero given. Maybe that's what they learn, and how to not give a fuck.
Yeah, maybe that was the what is that? There's
How-
a book about that, right?
How they learn how to print fucking things that say, verbal abuse will not be tolerated. Then they'd spend 10 minutes of the day printing a new one of those and laminating it and hanging it up on the fucking front, so you know that you can't say anything to them.
Yeah.
And then you just have to be like, yeah, fair enough. And then how to add fucking
It is what it is.
how to
yeah.
add money to it, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've seen shit with well into 100% markup, like well into 100%.
Oh, for sure.
You're like, why?
Yeah.
Why
There's
do
just
you
no
do
need.
this?
Just no need, right?
It was especially if something, something special or unique or something you need.
Sure. Yeah.
One that got me there on our sprayer, there's a fucking whole contraption for 5 different nozzles, so you can select.
Okay.
And this fucking thing, it bolts around the 1-inch line and then tightens up so the fluid's in the line, and then there's this contraption behind it. I broke one of these pricks, hit a fence post, and I thought, holy fuck.
As you do.
What the fuck is that thing going to be worth?
Yeah.
So I phoned him. Oh, he had lots. I had like 18 of them. And I was like, oh, fuck, all right, well, throw one in the box for me. And a friend of mine was working in town. So I said, okay, there's going to be a pickup box at John Deere, and it'll have my name on it. Can you swing by and grab it on your way home? So I grabbed it. I'm expecting like fucking $300 a piece. They were $25 fucking dollars a piece.
That's it,
This
eh?
this thing is, and someone like put this all together and it clicks and it's fucking fancy.
It's a complex part.
The interesting thing is the fucking nozzle that goes on it is like
Yeah.
$50 to $100 a piece.
Whew.
But the whole fucking contraption is worthless.
Really?
And to me, I still tell people about that I'm like, that confuses me. You can spend like $800 on nozzles to do that whole sprayer.
Yeah.
But the fucking piece that the nozzle goes into, which is clickable and turnable and fucking has seals and shit,
More
in it,
moving parts than anywhere.
is
Yeah.
$25 or
Wow.
$28 or whatever.
Isn't that
So-
something?
I didn't know if they had a typo, but we phoned Rebecca. We're like, yeah, we'll take like 10 of those.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, we'll just have a
Yeah.
whole bunch here.
I'll just keep that on my shelf. Yeah.
So until you find out that they're actually $250 a piece, and somebody sold them for $25.
Yeah. Cha-ching.
'Cause there's
Start
no-
the car.
There's no way this is cheaper than the nozzle.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Huh.
And then you go in for the next thing, and it's a fucking bolt, and it's $94. You're just like,
Yeah. Left-handed fine thread bolt. Ooh.
okay, all right then.
Yeah. Going to remortgage the fucking farm. for
Something
that.
that's been absolutely mass produced by machine, no human contact at all,
Yeah.
and you have to remortgage your fucking
Yeah.
house for it.
There's a program that fucking runs that thread.
And yet
Thread
this
cut.
thing that some buddy disenfranchised individual has spent hours
Yeah.
clicking together
Yeah,
and
there's a
fitting
factory
together and
factory in Mexico.
putting
They
it in a bag, shipping it. $20.
wild, hey.
It is. It is
Yeah.
wild.
Chad says the biggest problem: dealerships are no longer family owned. No pride, integrity, sense of community anymore. Just big corporate entities after biggest profit possible. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
That is true. That is
Couldn't agree
good. That
more.
is a very good point.
Yeah,
There's no connection at all.
no,
She's just fucking Bay Street, Wall Street, and that's it.
that's right. It's
Whatever's
a corporation, right?
whatever's most profitable at the end of the quarter.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Sad state of affairs. Well,
what are we at? 2.5 hours?
3.
Holy smokes, 3 hours.
We should probably.
Shut her
What
down.
time is it? 11 o'clock. 5 after 11. Let's folks go to bed and
Absolutely.
have some dessert, maybe. And
Yeah. You betcha.
yeah,
Go find a little bit of fluorinated water
fluoridated water.
because I'm out.
Yeah, it's good for your teeth,
Good for
apparently.
your teeth.
Still got to pay a $700 fucking dentist bill the other day, though.
Oh, yeah.
Pissed me off. Yeah.
I give up on the dentist. I've been one fucking for 12 years.
My wife went
Fuck
on. My wife went on mat leave, and I had some fillings to get done or whatever. So went to the dentist and didn't realize that her benefits were fucking done,
Mm,
and mine only covers me for so much. And so then here's a nice fucking bill.
perfect.
Yeah. So we got that all sorted out, but
That's, I actually I gave up on the dentist. I used to like breathing in out in the cold. My teeth would burn like a bastard. Eat like they were
it's
sensitive.
very
as shit.
sensitive, eh?
And no bullshit. I stopped going to the dentist, and I could probably eat everything on that fucking table.
Really?
Like no pain at all. So I don't know if that was by design or if I grew out of that sensitivity or what. But
Yeah.
I know I steer clear of them fuckers.
Well, I never liked the dentist, but I do like chocolate, so I end up having to spend some time there.
Well, I could never understand it. 'Cause, I mean, I'm like a regular toothbrusher kind of a guy. I don't eat like
Yeah.
a tremendous amount of sweets or anything like that. And I'd be laying there and they'd be, oh, your gums are bleeding. You got to brush more. And I told the lady, I said, you just fucking stabbed me with a pick like 45 fucking times. Like I felt it go
Yeah,
in
of
through
course.
my fucking gums and then you ripped it the fuck out.
Yeah, of
Like
course
there's
I'm
probably
bleeding.
nothing left of my mouth.
Yeah, you just turned my fucking teeth to hamburger.
Then
Yeah.
Buddy comes in with a fucking jackhammer and puts a knee on my fucking chest and fucking misses the tooth and goes through the gums. And then you gotta brush more. Well, I gotta fucking stop coming here. That's what I gotta do for my fucking for my dental health. I gotta stop having people sticking fucking impacts in my mouth and letting it rattle around for fucking 20 minutes and
Yeah,
then coming in with a bunch of picks and shit and then telling me that I gotta brush better.
yeah.
Fuck off.
Well, that new fella in Beaver Lodge there by the Beaver, he's pretty good. He is pretty good.
I don't like
I
him. I don't trust him.
gotta give him credit.
Part of the WEF, trying to take your land.
Trying to take your land.
Like
Yeah,
fucking knocking your teeth out
coming
first.
for your chickens by taking your teeth out. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Wild. All right. Well, we let these folks go home.
Sounds good. Have a good night, everybody.
All
I don't know
right.
what we're gonna do for a draw. I think everybody won, but probably send Chad a whiskey glass, I guess.
Just for a road trip. Pussy Chad. Put the coffee on, Chad. All right. Good night.
Good night, guys.